Chapter 279. Supreme Court in the Forbidden Area. Sun Hao stopped playing the guqin, sat in place, and breathed a long sigh of relief. After playing the meditation song, he felt much more comfortable. When he looked up, he saw that everyone was sitting cross-legged on the ground with their eyes closed in cultivation. The first to open her eyes was Huang Rumeng. She looked at Sun Hao, full of gratitude. At the same time, there was a look of worry between her eyebrows. "Rumeng, do you have something to say to me?" Sun Hao seemed to see what Huang Rumeng was thinking and asked. "Young master, Huang Rumeng wanted to speak but stopped. "Rumeng, you and I are so familiar, what else don't you dare to say?" Sun Hao pulled Huang Rumeng to his side, and the two sat together. "Young master, I want to say goodbye to you." After speaking, Huang Rumeng lowered her head, not daring to look at Sun Hao's eyes. As soon as these words came out, Sun Hao looked startled. This girl, all right, why did she want to say goodbye again? Was she going back to the demon Ancestor mountain? Last time she told him, could it be that her strength was there now? "Rumeng, are you going back to the demon Ancestor mountain?" Sun Hao asked. "Yes, young master." Huang Rumeng nodded. "I'll accompany you," Sun Hao said. Hearing this, the expression on Huang Rumeng's face changed. Excitement, gratitude. In the end she looked sad. "Young master, aren't you going to the Penglai continent?" "It's okay to go to the Penglai continent later. Anyway, I'm going to sell immortal wine. There must be many powerhouses above the Ascendant Realm in the Demon Ancestor Mountain, right?" Sun Hao asked. "Young master, there are many, and the overall strength is not weaker than the Penglai continent," Huang Rumeng said. "That's great. Anyway, I'm going to sell immortal wine, and it's the same wherever I sell it. It's decided. We'll go back tonight to prepare and go tomorrow. What do you think?" Sun Hao said. "Young master, thank you." Huang Rumeng's face was full of gratitude. She threw herself into Sun Hao's arms and hugged him tightly. The two soft lumps pressed Sun Hao's mind. In some places, they didn't listen to orders and went straight to the sky. Violent and ferocious, it seemed to tear the sky. Huang Rumeng sensed Sun Hao's strange changes, and her face red. She turned her head in Sun Hao's arms, not daring to look at Sun Hao's fiery eyes. I actually broke through." At this time, an exclamation startled Huang Rumeng, and she quickly broke free from Sun Hao's arms. The one who cried out in alarm was precisely Zhongli Lang. When he saw Sun Hao's strange eyes, he quickly retracted his ecstasy. He stood up, walked to Sun Hao, clasped his fist and saluted. "Thank you, young master." "You're welcome. I've lived here for so long, this is nothing." Speaking of this, Sun Hao's face gradually became serious. "However, my ability must not be passed on, do you understand?" "Young master, don't worry. Even if I die, I won't spread the news," Zhongli Lang said firmly. Hearing this, Sun Hao breathed a sigh of relief. Now, he felt much more at ease. Otherwise, if news of his shocking methods were to spread, it would definitely attract some peerless experts, which would be extremely disadvantageous to him. If it weren't for the fact that he was flustered, he wouldn't have played the song. Soon after, Luo Luoyan and the others woke up one by one, walked forward, and saluted Sun Hao in turn. "Thank you, young master." "You're welcome." Sun Hao waved his hand slightly. Luo Luoyan's face showed an anxious expression. "Young master, we have something to do, so we'll leave first." "Are you going back to the Great Demon Mountain?" Sun Hao asked. Luo Luoyan's expression stagnated, and then nodded slightly. "In that case, let's go together. Anyway, it's on the way." "Thank you, young master." Luo Luoyan bowed. "Miss Ra Shi, what about you? Are you going to the Great Demon Mountain?" Sun Hao asked. Taoist Ra Shi frowned slightly, and after a little thought, nodded slightly, and "Then let's go together." Sun Hao gave Huang Rumeng a look. Huang Rumeng immediately summoned the immortal boat and took Sun Hao to fly up. During the flight to the sky, Huang Ruming waved her right hand and rolled up the ancestor of the divine turtle clan, Xian Lao, and took him to the sky. Blood Wolf, Luo Luyen, and Taoist Ra she followed closely behind and walked into the immortal boat. Young master, are we going to make a space jump? Huang Ruming asked. No, it's so close anyway, it won't take long to arrive. Let's take advantage of this time to play a few games. What do you think? Sun Hao asked. Poker? Luo Luyen and Taoist Ra she spoke in unison. Obviously, they didn't know what poker was. You'll know when you follow me. The four of them walked into a chess room. Young master, don't you only need 3 people to play poker? Then I'll stand by and watch. Huang Ruming said. That's not necessary, the 4 of us will play together. There are many ways to play poker. This time, we need 2 decks of poker to level up. Sun Hao said. Level up? What kind of game is this? Huang Ruming's eyes were shining. Level up is, Sun Hao explained the rules of leveling up in detail. After the 3 women heard it, their eyes were shining. The young master actually had such a fun game. This was simply wonderful. It seemed to be much more interesting than immortal cultivation. Young master, I'll go with you. Huang Ruming took the lead to sit opposite Sun Hao. Okay. Sun Hao nodded. Then, the 4 of them began to play leveling up, which was simply not fun. At this moment, they all left their worries behind. Great Demon Mountain, at the foot of the mountain west of Sun Hao's residence. Buzz! The sky suddenly shook with layers of ripples, and a teleportation vortex quickly formed. Immediately afterward, 5 figures walked out in turn. These 5 people were Chen Daoming and others. Elder One, you can do it. With you here in the future, these 2 evil races will not dare to be presumptuous anymore. Chen Daoming said. Alliance Master Chen, I came here this time to say goodbye to the young master. When Rensher clenched his fists, and his face was full of worry. Goodbye, Elder One, you, seeing Wen Rensher's expression change, Chen Daoming stopped and continued to speak. What's the matter? Can you tell us? Wen Rensher sighed heavily. Everyone, in fact, I am not from Xiang Star. I bear a blood feud. My identity you don't know, otherwise I'm afraid. At this point, Wen Rensher couldn't go on. Elder One, in that case, you should cherish the opportunity to follow the young master. The stronger you are, the more advantageous it is for you to avenge the blood feud. Chen Daoming said. I know this, but I have sensed my lover's call these days. She must be somewhere waiting for me to save her. Wen Rensher said. Chen Daoming nodded repeatedly. I see, no wonder you look at the starry sky and sigh these days. Then why don't you say it directly? You can go back. Chen Daoming said. At that time, my strength was not enough. When Rensher's face was solemn, and tears were brewing in his eyes, the young master gave me such a good fortune, with my current strength, it should be easier to find her. Speaking of this, when Rensher's face, 2 lines of tears slid down. 2,000 years, I don't know if you are okay? Elder One, then you have to take care. Chen Daoming patted Wen Rensher's shoulder and said. Elder One, take care. Several people came forward in turn and began to comfort him. In the sky, layers of ripples suddenly shook. Look, that's the young master's immortal boat, let's go up together. Okay. Chapter 280. Greetings, young master. As soon as Sun Hao arrived home, Chen Daoming and the others came together and saluted with their fists clasped. No need to be so polite, who is this? Sun Hao looked at Xian Yuanlai and asked. Young master, my name is Xian Yuanlai, I am Xian Yuanshi's ancestor. Xian Yuanlai said. Senior Xian Yuan. Sun Hao nodded slightly. If it was in the past, he might have been shocked. But now, there were no ripples at all. Since he possessed such shocking means, it was normal for some experts to come. Moreover, he had experts protecting him. Not to mention Rumeng, just Big Wolf alone was something that not many people could deal with. When he went to the Fey Ancestral Mountain, he would tame a few more savage beasts and form an army of savage beasts. Young master, you mustn't. Xianyuan Lai raised his eyebrows and his expression changed slightly. Just call me Old Lai. Young master, I have a small gift for you this time. After speaking, Xianyuan Lai took out a bead, held it in both hands, and presented it in front of Sun Hao. The pearl was completely transparent. There was no luster on its surface, as if it was nothing at all. If one did not look carefully, it would be difficult to notice. This is? Sun Hao picked up the bead and looked at it in his hand. Young master, this is called the Void Pearl. Xianyuan Lai said. Void Pearl? Sun Hao muttered to himself, his eyes fixed on it, motionless. Phew! In Sun Hao's hand, the 5-colored light flowed into the Void Pearl. In the next second, something strange happened. Phew! The void orb lit up with a 5-colored light, which was extremely dazzling. It was so bright that no one could open their eyes. Buzz, Huang Ruming's soul space trembled rapidly, as if something was about to break out. Huang Ruming's expression changed slightly as she hurriedly opened her soul space. Phew! The Mu clan's supreme treasure, the smelting god cauldron, flew out rapidly and danced around the Void Pearl. Swish! Another 2 piercing sounds rang out. The Xianyuan cup and the soul-suppressing orb quickly flew out from the study and circled around the void orb. Buzz, the soul-suppressing orb and the grand void orb trembled violently and twisted around each other. In the end, they merged into one and formed a black and white fish-shaped orb. Tai Chi Divine Pearl! Everyone exclaimed in unison, their eyes wide open. The shock on his face was indescribable. However, it did not stop. It was as if it had just begun. The smelting divine cauldron and the Xianyuan cup were also fusing rapidly, forming the shape of a spire. Phew! The Taiji divine bead fluttered over, landing on the top of the pagoda, merging with it, becoming one. This whole entity did not stop. Instead, he flew up and stood quietly in the sky. In the end, it slowly landed on the top of the 100-meter-tall stone pagoda and embedded itself into the stone pagoda, merging with it and becoming indistinguishable. Hua! 5-colored light flew out of the Taiji Divine Pearl, sprinkling down like a waterfall, covering the entire stone tower. At this moment, layers of 5-colored divine light lit up on the stone pagoda. It was extremely beautiful. Phew! A godly aura spread rapidly into the surroundings with the stone tower at the center. At this moment, on some planets, many immortal emperors and peerless almighties in seclusion opened their eyes. A bright light shot out from his eyes. A divine artifact has appeared. I wonder if this is good or bad. Looks like a storm is bound to arise in the 3 dimensions. It's time for me to leave my closed-door cultivation. I wonder who will end up with the divine artifact. It's a bit interesting, the divine artifact belongs to this emperor. Such a voice resounded on different planet. The entire 3 realms felt as if a storm was brewing, and smoke filled the entire building. The divine artifact appeared, and the old monster came out of seclusion. In the future, the storm would definitely sweep the purple sun star. However, Sun Hao and the others didn't know about this. At this moment, they all looked at the stone tower with a surprised face. This is the Taiji Divine Tower. What? This is the legendary Taiji Divine Tower? Everyone muttered to themselves, shocked. For a while, they couldn't come back to their senses at all. Even Sun Hao was stunned at the moment. Unexpectedly, the things everyone sent could be pieced together into such a beautiful pagoda. It seemed to be called the Taiji Divine Tower. What was this? Old one, what is the Taiji Divine Tower? Sun Hao asked. Hearing this, Wenrenshur was shocked. He frowned slightly, then walked in front of Sun Hao, clasped his fist and saluted. Young master, the Taiji Divine Tower is said to be a divine artifact. Divine artifact? Sun Hao asked. However, according to the historical records of cultivation, before ancient times, there was a divine artifact, the Taiji Divine Tower, in the hands of the Goblin clan. The Taiji Divine Tower can refine the soul, temper the body, and strengthen the immortal power. However, in the ancient Dark Period, the Taiji Divine Tower was lost, and no one knows where it went. I didn't expect that the tower in your hand is the divine artifact, the Taiji Divine Tower. One Rincher said. When Sun Hao heard this, his eyes bloomed. Who would have thought that this ordinary stone pagoda would suddenly transform into a divine artifact? Could it be held in his hand? Even the immortal emperor could be killed? If so, wouldn't he be invincible in the world? Can this Taiji Divine Tower attack people? Sun Hao asked. Young master, it seems that there is no such record. It is a divine artifact to assist in cultivation, and it has no attack power. One Rincher said. Assist in cultivation? So, it can temper the body? Sun Hao asked. Yes, as long as you enter the tower, you can temper the body. One Rincher said. In that case, let's go in with me. Sun Hao said. Okay. Everyone's eyes bloomed with a strange light. Such a good thing, they couldn't ask for more. This was a peerless good fortune. Sun Hao walked in front of the Taiji Divine Tower, and the door opened automatically. Entering inside, Sun Hao looked stunned. At the entrance of the first floor, there were 5 light clusters of red, yellow, blue, green, and purple. Old One, this is? Sun Hao asked. Young master, this should be the ability to choose to temper, and red should represent tempering the body. As long as you reach out and hold it, you can enter inside. One Rincher said. So magical? Sun Hao reached out and held the red light cluster. With a flash of light, Sun Hao disappeared in place instantly. When he appeared again, he had already come to a blood-colored space. This space was endless, surrounded by red blood qi. With a flash of light, Huang Rumeng followed closely. Young master, I will cultivate first. Huang Rumeng frowned slightly, sat cross-legged on the ground, and began to temper the body. The blood qi around rushed in. It quickly flowed into Huang Rumeng's body. The impurities in the body were quickly eliminated. The body became purer and purer. There were a few more sounds. Luo Luyen and the others also walked in one after another. Then, learning from Huang Rumeng's appearance, they began to temper the body. Sun Hao felt like an outsider, staring at the actions of several people. No way, it doesn't work on me? Could it be because I didn't cultivate? It shouldn't be, isn't this tempering the body? Or, my body has reached its peak and doesn't need to be tempered. Thinking of this, Sun Hao raised his eyebrows and his eyes flickered. Chapter 281. Peak Physical Body? Sun Hao's eyes shone with a smile on his face. A peak physical body powerhouse should be able to break stars with one finger, right? Can I? I can still dream about it. It seems that to temper the physical body I need to cultivate. Sun Hao stared blankly at everyone's serious appearance, looking very bored. Afterward, he wandered around and soon came to the front of the red and white light balls. White ball. What is this used for? Sun Hao reached out and held it. With a flash of light, he disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he returned to the entrance of the Taiji Divine Tower. So the white ball is the exit, what about the red ball? Sun Hao walked into the Taiji Divine Tower again, holding the red ball, and disappeared. Soon, Sun Hao figured out the rules. This was the same as playing a game. The red and white balls played the role of forward and backward. The red ball entered the next floor, and the white ball returned to the previous floor. How many floors are there in total? Sun Hao always chose the red ball, and after he walked into the 36th floor, he stopped. Looking around, the blood qi around him was as thick as blood, and it was difficult to open his eyes. After some effort, Sun Hao finally found 2 light balls. However, the color of the light ball, one was blue and the other was white. It turned into a blue ball? Sun Hao reached out and held the blue light ball, instantly disappearing in place. When he appeared again, He had already arrived at the top of the Tai Chi Divine Tower. Looking into the distance, looking at the beautiful scenery in all directions, he was relaxed and happy. It seems that I can come up without rumming in the future. This scenery is good, Sun Hao muttered to himself. After a long time, he withdrew his gaze. He looked at the light ball in front of him and gently grasped it. Who? His figure flashed and returned to the ground. As soon as he looked up, he found that everyone was standing in front of him. Young master. When Rinshir took the lead to stand up and salute with his fists clasped. Old one, if you have something to say, you're welcome, Sun Hao said. Young master, I have to leave for a while. I don't know when I can come back. I'm here to say goodbye to you. When Rinshir looked at Sun Hao with gratitude written all over his face. Are you going to a far place? Sun Hao asked. When Rinshir nodded. Since you have something to do, I won't hold you back, but listen to my song before you go, Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. When Rinshir cupped his fists and saluted. Don't stand on ceremony. We are going to start, Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. When Rinshir sat cross-legged on the ground and pricked up his ears to listen. Clang, the sound of the zither rang out. Under the control of Sun Hao, wisps of colorful light quickly flew to one Rinshir's body and enveloped him. The colorful light poured from the pores and ran through the meridians, quickly strengthening every cell in one Rinshir's body. At this moment, when Rinshir felt extremely comfortable and revealed an indescribable joy. The eyes of the crowd were filled with envy when they saw this. The music stopped. When Rinshir continued to close his eyes and remained motionless. After a long time, he opened his eyes. He stood up, walked to Sun Hao, cupped his fists and said, Young master, I can't thank you enough. Your kindness to me, old one, will always be remembered in my heart. You're welcome. Sun Hao smiled and waved his hand. You just need to remember that you can't tell others about my ability. Young master, don't worry, even if I die, I won't say a word, one Rinshir said. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded slightly. Old one was indeed reliable. When he returns in the future, he will be a die-hard fan. Young master, I'm leaving, one Rinshir said. Go, remember to come back when you have time in the future. Definitely. When Rinshir strode out of the courtyard door, he did not dare to look back. He was afraid that when he looked back, the tears in his eyes would drip. But he didn't look back, and the tears in his eyes were still falling. Young master, your kindness to old one can't be repaid in 10,000 lifetimes. As long as there is something you can use in the future, I, old one, will never frown even if I die. After speaking, when Rinshir quickly ran down the mountain, turned into a stream of light, and disappeared into the sky. It wasn't until when Rinshir disappeared that everyone withdrew their gaze. The look on everyone's face was different. Everyone, I'm going to leave for a while. I don't know when I'll be back for the time being. I want to ask everyone for a favor, Sun Hao said. As soon as these words came out, Luo Liuyen's body trembled. The young master's instructions must be remembered well. Young master, please say it, Luo Liuyen said. Miss Liuyen, I want to ask you to help take care of this place and clean it up by the way. By the way, this Tai Chi Divine Tower, when you have nothing to do, you can cultivate inside, Sun Hao said. Hearing this, Luo Liuyen and the others' pupils shrank, and their faces changed drastically. This Tai Chi Divine Tower, that was a divine weapon. The young master actually asked us to cultivate when we have nothing to do. This kind of good fortune was simply indescribable. Young master, no problem. Luo Liuyen nodded. Miss Xiaolan. Sun Hao looked at the flower fairy and said, Young master, what can I do for you? The flower fairy asked. Please continue to help me take care of the flowers in the backyard, can you see? Sun Hao said. Young master, of course, no problem. The flower fairy nodded. Speaking of this, Sun Hao's face was full of caution. I know that the fruits, cabbages, and radishes in the backyard all contain immortal power, which will be of great use to you." As soon as these words came out, everyone's faces changed slightly, and they thought it was not good. The young master knew? Could it be that the young master's Tao heart was broken? No way, this is not a good thing. Worry was written all over everyone's faces. However, those things are just some ordinary dishes for me, not worth mentioning. I can plant such things at any time. When I am not here, you don't have to be polite, you can pick them at any time. Sun Hao said. Everyone listened to this, and tears brewed in their eyes. The color of being moved was written all over everyone's face. The young master actually said that he can plant them at any time? Is this true? Chen Daoming used divine sense to transmit his voice. Yes, I saw it with my own eyes. Moreover, if the young master removes the seed, it will only take a moment to grow into an immortal divine medicine. Luo Luoyan said. Hiss, when Chen Daoming and the others heard this, they couldn't help but take a breath. No wonder the young master had so many immortal divine medicines here. The young master's Tao heart has not been broken, right? Chen Daoming asked. It should not be. The young master thinks that he is still immortal, but he knows that he can grow immortal divine medicines. Luo Luoyan said. Hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief and felt relieved. As long as the young master's Tao heart was not broken, there was nothing to worry about. By the way, I brewed a lot of cherry wine. I don't know if you like it? After speaking, Sun Hao gave each of them a bottle. When they opened the bottle cap, everyone's faces changed slightly, and surprise was written all over their faces. Young master, it smells so good, I like it. Young master, thank you. Everyone's face showed surprise. Since everyone likes it, everyone takes 1,000 bottles. Sun Hao gestured, and Huang Rumeng waved her right hand. In front of everyone, there were thousands of bottles of cherry wine floating. Chapter 282. Sun Hao's residence, in a pavilion at the foot of the mountain on the west side. Xian Yuanshi walked up to Luo Luoyan, cupped her fists, and saluted. Leader Luo, my Xianyuan family wants to join the Evil Suppression Alliance, what do you think? Of course. Luo Luoyan nodded. From today on, Miss Xianyuan will serve as an elder and be responsible for all the affairs of the Xianyuan family. Yes. Xianyuanshi's face lit up. Since we are all members of the Evil Suppressing Alliance, we will be a family from now on. Here, I want to tell everyone a big thing. Luo Luoyan looked dignified and said seriously. Leader Luo, what's the big deal? Chen Daoming asked. This big event is actually very simple, that is, the young master is setting up a shocking grand plan. Luo Luoyan said. Shocking situation? What shocking situation? Everyone's faces were filled with astonishment. It took a long time for them to regain their senses. Finally, everyone's eyes were fixed on Luo Luoyan. Leader Luo, what is the specific situation? Chen Daoming asked. I don't know either. Luo Luoyan shook her head slightly. Or, with our strength, we don't deserve to know at all. What we need to do is to do what the young master has arranged. Young master has given us a total of 3 important tasks. We must do our best. Luo Luoyan looked at the crowd and said, Master, did I? The young master seems to have arranged only one thing for us, right? Su Yiling scratched her head and said, Don't cross. Luo Luoyan glanced at Su Yiling, and Su Yiling lowered her head weakly. Oh, the first major event is to attack the devils. Luo Luoyan said. As soon as these words came out, everyone's expression froze, and their faces were filled with shock. Union Master Luo, you and I seem to be together these days. How come I didn't know that the young master had such an order? Taoist Ruo Shi asked. Elder Ruo Shi, when we were in the Supreme Court, the young master looked to the north and said he wanted to go out for a walk. Do you still remember that? Isn't this telling us not to stay in the Tianluo continent all the time? And the north just happens to be the lair of the demons. What the young master means is to tell us that we must take the initiative to attack the devils and take their nest. Luo Luoyan said. When Taoist Ruoshi heard this, she showed a look of sudden realization. So when young master speaks, one can't look at the surface at all. That makes sense. However, the devil race lives on the heavenly devil continent. The devil chi there is overwhelming, and we don't have any power to replenish it. If we attack rashly, I'm afraid we won't last long. Taoist Ruoshi said. Luo Luoyan smiled slightly and said, Young master has already thought of it. You already thought of it? Taoist Ruoshi looked puzzled. The young master gave us 1,000 bottles of immortal wine each. What do you think we should do with it? Luo Luoyan asked. Master, it's not for us to drink, right? Su Yiling said. Boom, a violent knock on Su Yiling's head. Master, why did you hit me? Su Yiling looked aggrieved. I told you not to cross, but you kept doing it. Think more about everything, I said. Why don't you listen to me? Luo Luoyan showed a look of disappointment. Leader Luo, do you mean that the young master gave us the immortal wine to supply the attack on the heavenly demon continent? Chen Daoming asked. Not bad. Luo Luoyan nodded. As soon as these words came out, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. It turned out that the young master gave us the immortal wine for this purpose. If it weren't for Leader Luo's high understanding, who would have thought of it? Leader Luo, we have 8 people, and a total of 8,000 bottles. Is this not enough? Taoist Ruoshi asked. It's completely enough. To attack the demons, it's not the number of soldiers but the quality. We will bring 500 elite soldiers. In this way, everyone will have at least 10 bottles. All of these 500 elite soldiers must break through to the immortal realm. Luo Luoyan said. All of them break through to the immortal realm? Leader Luo, this is impossible. The young master is not here. Who can resist the immortal tribulation? Xian Yuan sure said. You scan the sky with your divine sense. Luo Luoyan said. Xian Yuan sure glanced at the sky with doubts. Suddenly, her face changed slightly. This place has become a thunder tribulation forbidden zone? Xian Yuan sure said. Yes. In fact, it's not only within 100 miles of the young master's residence that can cross the tribulation, but our 3 supreme holy lands can also cross the tribulation. As long as we select loyal and reliable people, we will arrange for them to cross the immortal tribulation. After becoming an immortal, we will go out with us. Luo Luoyan said. Good. When everyone heard this, they nodded slightly. Everyone's face was full of admiration. What about the second major event? Chen Daoming asked. The second major event is that the young master asked us to work hard to cultivate. The young master left us the immortal divine medicine and the Tai Chi divine tower, which means that our strength is too low. When we finish slaughtering the demons, we must work hard to cultivate. The young master is so anxious, I'm afraid that something big is going to happen. Luo Luoyan said. Something big? Why do you say that? Chen Daoming asked. There are 2 reasons for my judgment. First, the young master has sold so much immortal wine. What do you think the young master means? Luo Luoyan asked. Isn't it to enhance the overall strength of the human race? This is only one of the reasons. There is another more important reason, that is, the young master is fishing for big fish. Luo Luoyan said. What? Fishing for big fish? Everyone's faces were even more confused. Luo Luoyan smiled slightly and explained, Do you think the immortal wine sold by the young master will fall into the hands of other big forces? Of course. Leader Luo, do you mean that those big forces will definitely not be able to bear it and will come directly to Purple Sun Star? Even send an army to fight? Yes. Seeing Luo Luoyan nodded. Everyone took a breath of cold air. If the forces of other planets came, it would be a disaster for the entire Purple Sun Star. Second, that is the Tai Chi Divine Tower. This kind of divine object, once it is born, it will produce a kind of Tao cry. When one reaches the immortal emperor level, one can sense this kind of Tao cry. You say, if such a character comes with our current strength, can we defend it? The young master naturally knows this. He asked us to stay here so that we can work hard and not slack off. Luo Luoyan's words made everyone take a few breaths of cold air again. An unparalleled sense of urgency surged through everyone's body. After a long time, they calmed down and glanced at Luo Luoyan again. What's the third thing? Chen Daoming asked. The third thing is to protect the Tianluo continent. The young master is not here, and the responsibility of guarding the Tianluo continent falls on us. Luo Luoyan said. Leader Luo, we all understand these things. Now you can arrange it. Chen Daoming said. Good. Luo Luoyan nodded. The expedition to the heavenly demon continent needs top powerhouses. The 8 of us will definitely bear the brunt. In addition, contact the Supreme Court and ask them if they are willing to join? Luo Luoyan said. Leader Luo, the Grand Dean just sent me a message saying that he wants to join the Evil Suppression Alliance. Taoist Ruo, she said. Really, that's great. Now our Evil Suppression Alliance is equivalent to dominating the Tianluo continent. Chapter 283. Tianluo Continent, Central State Dragon Tomb Entrance. Here, it had been blown to pieces and was full of devastation. On this day, 2 figures walked out of the ripples in the sky. They were the evil race Ghost Candle and the demon race Blood Knight. Brother Blood Knight, amazing, fortunately we came late, otherwise, I'm afraid the consequences would be unimaginable. Ghost Candle's 2 soul flames kept trembling. Brother Ghost Candle, don't say, let's go in. Okay. They penetrated the entrance and went underground. Turning left and right in the depths of the underground, they didn't know how long they had been walking. They came to a circular altar. The altar looked very old and was covered in a thick layer of dust. Howl! Blood Knight let out a roar, the air waves whistled, and the dust soared into the sky. The dust on the altar was instantly cleaned up. Ancient runes appeared on the altar one after another. In the middle of the altar, there was a crystal ball with a diameter of 5 meters. Blood Knight stood in front of the crystal ball, gently grabbed with his right hand, and took out 3 jade bottles. Inside were 3 drops of blood essence. Brother Ghost Candle, take it out. Blood Knight said. Okay. Ghost Candle also took out a jade bottle and handed it to Blood Knight. Blood Knight took 4 jade bottles, fused the 4 drops of blood essence together, and dripped them on the crystal ball. Immediately, the crystal ball lit up with a dazzling white light, illuminating the entire cave. Siligudi, Blood Knight, and Ghost Candle muttered to themselves, their hands constantly forming seals. The light on the crystal ball floated down like silk threads, surging through every pattern of the altar. As time passed, the white light gradually disappeared, replaced by a red light as thick as blood. A huge, dog-shaped, rabbit-like beast shadow slowly condensed and formed. A shocking pressure emanated from the beast shadow. Ghost Candle and the others' faces changed dramatically, and they directly knelt on the ground. Roar! The beast shadow let out a roar, shaking the entire cave to buzz and tremble, as if it was about to burst open. You summoned this seat out to obtain this seat's power? The beast shadow looked at Ghost Candle and Blood Knight and said, Yes, Ancestor. Then you know the price? I know. In that case, then prepare to accept this seat's baptism. Howl! With a roar, boundless waves of blood surged forward. Wrapping around Ghost Candle and Blood Knight, they disappeared. 2 blood-curdling screams echoed faintly. Demon Ancestor Mountain, Golden Crow City, in a pavilion. Dust filled the surroundings, and the eaves were covered in cobwebs. It looked like it hadn't been cleaned for many years. There were several bronze pillars in the middle of the pavilion. Every pillar was engraved with formation runes. Iron chains drilled out from the pillar and pierced through a woman's limbs, locking her in the middle. The woman's hair was white and she was bony, as if she was about to die. Shang-er, she kept repeating these words in her mouth. Every time her eyes were about to lose their luster, she would shout out these words. Very soon, his face would regain its radiance. The essence of living. Creak, the sound of a heavy door opening rang out. The sunlight shone through the door and into the woman's eyes. She raised her head and squinted her eyes. In the light, she seemed to see a figure walking over. Shang, the woman murmured, like a mother calling her son. Pa, what awaited her was an iron whip on her body. Hua, her skin tore open. The blood seemed to have dried up, not a bit flowing out. The woman was dazed. What she saw was a middle-aged man with a handlebar mustache. The handlebar mustache's face was full of anger. Damn bitch, it's all because of you. After that, the handlebar mustache fiercely whipped down a few times, beating the woman black and blue. From beginning to end, the woman didn't say a word and let the handlebar mustache do it. After venting his anger, the handlebar mustache stared at the woman and said, "You Xian, do you know your mistake?" Hee, the woman smiled coldly and spat hard. The saliva dripped on her chest and couldn't reach the handlebar mustache's face. "You Xian, as long as you admit your mistake, I will let you out immediately. If you go on like this, you can only hold on for another 10 years at most. Are you really not afraid of death?" The handlebar mustache said. "Haha, so what if I die? If you want to kill me, just kill me," the woman said. "Damn bitch." The handlebar mustache's face was angry. "The family nurtured you like this to activate the heaven-devouring bloodline in your body. I didn't expect that you, this bitch, actually had a relationship with a foreign race, even got pregnant with a child, and passed all the heaven-devouring bloodline to that bastard. How can you face the family like this? If you marry me, our child will definitely suppress the demon emperor and become the master of this continent." The handlebar mustache said word by word, extremely resentful. Then, he waved the whip again and frantically whipped the woman. Pa, again and again, it fiercely hit the woman's body. Every time the whip retracted, a trace of flesh and blood would be taken away from the woman's body. In the blink of an eye, the woman was covered with cuts and bruises, and the light in her eyes had completely disappeared. "It seems that it's impossible to make you repent. If that's the case, then go to hell." After that, the handlebar mustache waved the iron whip and aimed at the woman. The iron whip shook the air, and the airwave separated the two sides. Seeing that, the iron whip was about to hit the woman. At this time, a blood-red figure instantly blocked in front of the woman. Bang! The iron whip hit the blood-red figure and instantly burst open. The handlebar mustache was completely dumbfounded, and his expression changed. His eyes were fixed on the blood-red figure, and he did not dare to move. The blood-red figure ignored the handlebar mustache, but looked at the woman, his hands trembling slightly. Mother, I am Shang-er," Lai Shang said tremblingly. When the woman heard this, her body trembled, her eyes recovered a trace of color, and she stared at Lai Shang blankly. "Shang-er, is it really you?" the woman said. "Mother, it's me. I'm sorry, I'm late and I've made you suffer." Lai Shang's tears fell. "Shang-er, Mother can see you again, I have no regrets in death. Mother doesn't treat you right. Shang-er, after Mother dies, you can't take revenge." Lai Shang heard this and kept nodding. Soon after, the woman smiled, tilted her head, and there was no movement. "Mother!" A furious roar shook the entire pavilion, causing it to buzz and tremble. Seeing this scene, the handlebar mustache secretly said that it was not good. Just as he was about to take a step, he was horrified to find that infinite blood chi enveloped him. No matter how he struggled, it was of no use. "Mother, since you are not here anymore, I have nothing to worry about. This world must be buried with you. Let's start with you." A vicious light shot out of Lai Shang's eyes. The handlebar mustache's body flew out uncontrollably, and landed in Lai Shang's hands. A shrill scream resounded through the world. Not good, the patriarch has been restrained, someone come quickly. Something big happened, something big happened. The entire Golden Crow City was instantly in chaos. Chapter 284. In the northernmost part of Demon Ancestral Mountain, in the sky. Buzz, ripples appeared in the sky as an immortal boat slowly descended. The immortal boat had the words Scarlet Thunder engraved on it. Phew, Huang Rumeng flew straight down with Sun Hao. Landing on the ground, Sun Hao looked at the surrounding scenery, his eyes shining. On the land, ancient trees towered into the sky, and vines intertwined. Under the tree, thick leaves were piled up all around. Stepping on them made a soft sound. It looked as if he had come to a primeval forest. Rumeng, is this Phoenix City? Sun Hao asked. Of course not. To enter Phoenix City, we need to take the Earth Vein Transmission Array from Northern Fall City. Huang Rumeng said. Earth Vein Teleportation Formation? Can't we do a space jump directly? Sun Hao asked. Young Master, there is a space turbulence in the sky above the Demon Ancestor Mountain. Even if an immortal king is swallowed, I'm afraid he won't be able to survive. If our immortal boat passes through these spatial turbulences, I'm afraid it will also be torn to pieces. Huang Rumeng said. Hearing this, Sun Hao's face showed fear. This world is so scary. Alright, let's go to North Fall City first. Can this fly over? Sun Hao said. Young Master, you can't fly. Although Beluo City is in the periphery of the Demon Ancestral Mountain, flying over is very dangerous. From time to time, the sky here will also produce spatial turbulence. Before he finished his words. Gotcha! It was as if a thunderbolt had struck the top of his head. He raised his head. A huge crack appeared in the sky. Within the crack, the primal chaos was berserk, as if it could tear everything apart. Just looking at it made one's scalp go numb. Squeak, with a bird cry, a giant bird with a wingspan of 5 meters frantically fled in the sky. However, it was useless. The rift in the sky seemed to have a terrifying suction force, and the giant bird was pulled in and torn to pieces. Phew, a moment later, the crack disappeared and the sky returned to normal, as if everything was just an illusion. Seeing this scene, Sun Hao's scalp exploded, and cold sweat flowed. Rumeng, was that space turbulence just now? Sun Hao asked. Yes, the one just now was nothing. The spatial rifts in the outskirts can extend for dozens of kilometers. And in the inner layer of Demon Ancestor Mountain, the spatial turbulence is simply boundless. Ordinary cultivators can't resist that kind of suction force. Even if we're on the ground, we'll still be sucked up. Therefore, in this Demon Ancestor Mountain, monster beasts with strength below the Ascendant Realm cannot survive at all. Huang Rumeng said. Rumeng, was that monster just now also in the Ascendant Realm? Sun Hao asked. That's right, it can only blame its bad luck. It was too close to the spatial crack, and simply had no time to escape. Huang Rumeng said. Hearing this, Sun Hao took a few long breaths before he calmed down. It was really dangerous for a mortal like him to be here. If it wasn't for Ru Meng by his side, he wouldn't have the right to come here. Rumeng, is there no safe place? Sun Hao asked. Of course there is. Every city in the demonic Ancestral Mountain has a great formation that can resist the suction of the turbulent space. Newly born monsters will basically stay in the city and not come out. Only those who reach the Ascendant Realm or above are allowed to leave the city. Huang Rumeng said. Then let's go to Beluo City as soon as possible. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. That's right, Ru Meng, since it's not suitable for you to reveal your identity now, don't make a move unless it's a crucial moment. Leave the matter of taking action to me. Just lend me your power secretly. Sun Hao said. Young master, why do you need to borrow it? In this place, who can be your opponent? He thought so in his heart, but he didn't dare to say so. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng nodded. Ru Meng, aren't we too conspicuous like this? Do you want to change into a tauren or a tiger-headed person? Sun Hao asked. Young master, it's okay. In the city, the monster race will basically transform into human form. The more powerful they are, the more they look like humans. Moreover, this Beiluo city is a trading place between the human race and the monster race, and more than 50% of them are humans. Huang Rumeng said. The two figures gradually went away. Wu, behind the two, a blood-colored puppy followed closely. Soon after, Sun Hao stood in front of a city, looking at the scene in front of him, his face full of shock. He saw. An ancient city lay in front of Sun Hao. The city walls were all built of boulders, up to tens of meters high, and it looked majestic. An ancient great formation enveloped the entire sky above Beiluo City, protecting everything. On the city gate, 3 big words were written, Beiluo City. At the city gate, the tide of people flowed in and out, and it couldn't stop at all. Many people's facial features always had some strange places. For example, some people's noses were so long that they were close to their lip. Some people's lips were protruding, sharp like an eagle's beak. Young master, those people with long noses are the Divine Elephant clan, belonging to the 6 royal clans. Those with long mouths are the Giant Eagle clan, belonging to the Divine Elephant clan's subsidiary clan. Huang Rumeng was next to him, using divine sense to introduce to Sun Hao. When Sun Hao heard these words, he couldn't help but look startled. Rumeng, you said it so loudly, aren't you afraid that they will hear it? Young master, this is a divine sense sound transmission, only you can hear it. Huang Rumeng said. Divine sense sound transmission? What is divine sense sound transmission? Sun Hao asked. Young master, divine sense sound transmission is used. Hearing Huang Rumeng's introduction, Sun Hao's eyes flickered. After entering the cultivation, there was actually a secret method. He must collect the blessing point as soon as possible and embark on the road of cultivation. In this way, no one could hear the two whispering. Sun Hao thought secretly with a face of excitement. Entering the city, it was even more crowded, and it was difficult to move. Sun Hao looked at everything around him and nodded secretly. Unexpectedly, this small city of Demon Ancestor Mountain was also so prosperous. Compared with the Tianluo continent's central prefecture Immortal City, it was not much weaker. Rumeng, are you sure this is just a small city? Sun Hao asked. Young master, yes, Phoenix City is 100 times more prosperous than here. Huang Rumeng said. What? 100 times? Sun Hao's eyes widened and his face was shocked. It seemed that the Tianluo continent he lived in was indeed too remote. Then I really want to see it, Rumeng. Let's go to the teleportation array now. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. The two quickly walked to the teleportation array. After half an hour, they finally stood in front of the teleportation array. Seeing the scene in front of him, Sun Hao frowned slightly. He saw that in front of the Earth Vein teleportation array, there was a sea of people. What? The teleportation array is broken? Fuck. It's not broken earlier or later, but it's broken today. I have an important event. What should I do? I can't go through the teleportation array, it's too dangerous. Such voices kept ringing. Is it broken? Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng looked at each other, worried. Young master, it seems that we can only go to 2 City to take the Earth Vein teleportation array. Huang Rumeng said. Rumeng, wait a minute, there must be a lot of people who think like us. If the 2 City teleportation array is also broken, wouldn't it waste a few more days? With so many people, I think someone will give an explanation. Listen to what they say first, and then make a decision. Sun Hao said. Hearing this, Huang Rumeng lowered her head in shame. She blamed herself for being too anxious, and had completely lost her mind. Calm down, she must calm down. Okay, young master. Huang Rumeng nodded. Soon after, a man in a blue robe came quickly with a group of guards. He was the city lord of Beluo City, Hu Luoxian. After he stood on the stage and waved his hand gently, the surroundings instantly quieted down. Chapter 285. Everyone, I'm really sorry. We can understand everyone's eagerness. The teleportation array is out of order. To ensure everyone's safety, it can't be opened. Don't worry, we will try our best to repair it. Please give us 2 more days. Hu Luoxian's voice shook out and clearly reached everyone's ears. Huang Ruming breathed a sigh of relief when she heard this. Young master, let's stay here for 2 days. Don't you want to sell immortal wine? Isn't this opportunity just right? Huang Ruming's voice woke Sun Hao up. Selling wine? This was indeed a good place. With so many people, there was no need to publicize it and everyone would know. Ruming, put it out. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Huang Ruming waved her right hand. A table, a chair and dozens of jade bottles were placed on the table. The sign read, Selling Immortal Wine. Below it, a row of small words was written, 1 immortal crystal per bottle, strength above the ascendant realm, each person is limited to buy 3 bottles. As soon as this sign was erected, it immediately attracted the attention of many people. Fuck, immortal wine. Such a small bottle costs 1 immortal crystal? Robbing money. Everyone come and see, there are such greedy vendors in this Beluo city. City Lord, don't you care about this? That's right, it's too black-hearted. I can buy dozens of vats with 1 immortal crystal. Voices of accusation kept ringing. Sun Hao's face was calm, but his heart was flustered. Here, his reputation had not yet opened, and using this trick was not very effective. I'm still being accused by so many people. Will they surround me and beat me up? Rumring, if I lend you my strength, how is my strength in this Beluo city? Sun Hao asked in a low voice. Young master, don't worry, no one is your opponent. Huang Ruming said. Hearing this, Sun Hao breathed a sigh of relief. Howl, at Sun Hao's feet, Blood Wolf growled in a low voice. That expression seemed to be saying that it was also invincible in Beluo City. By the way, there's also Big Wolf, we don't need to do anything at all. Sun Hao touched Blood Wolf's head and said with a smile. Woo, Blood Wolf lay in front of Sun Hao and kept rubbing his trousers. City Lord, you have to take care of this matter. Yes, City Lord, this kind of profiteer must be driven out of Beluo City. Everyone's gaze was fixed on Hu Luoxian. Hu Luoxian stood there awkwardly. The price was clearly stated. It was up to you whether you wanted to buy or not. How did he become a profiteer? These fellows were obviously looking for someone to vent their anger on. What did it have to do with him that the teleportation array was broken? Everyone, our demonic ancestral mountain is a place for lectures. That little brother, Hu Luoxian glanced at Sun Hao's table and couldn't help but look startled. His heart pounded violently, and he found it hard to calm down. Why did that jade bottle look so familiar? Could the immortal wine he was selling be the immortal wine of young Master Sun Hao of the Tianluo continent? So cheap, he can't be young Master Sun Hao, right? Hu Luoxian touched the jade bottle in his bosom, unable to remain calm for a moment. Not long ago, he had just won a bottle of immortal wine. Spending 50,000 immortal crystals was equivalent to hundreds of years of savings. Although it was painful, it was worth it. He had always been reluctant to use it. Is he really young Master Sun Hao? Hu Luoxian thought to himself, looking more and more nervous. City Lord, what happened to that little brother? Seeing Hu Luoxian not talking, someone woke Hu Luoxian up. That little brother clearly marked the price. Whether you buy or not, it's all voluntary. Why do you say he is a profiteer? I think you just want to find someone to vent your anger because the teleportation array can't be used. Am I right? As soon as these words came out, many people bowed their heads in shame and stopped talking. Under everyone's gaze, Hu Luoxian walked straight to Sun Hao. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles. After speaking, Hu Luoxian took out 3 immortal crystals and handed them to Sun Hao. Good. One exchange of money, one exchange of goods. With the blessing in hand, Sun Hao smiled. After putting the jade bottle away, Hu Luoxian quickly left with the guard. What? Is the city lord's brain kicked by a donkey? Spending 3 immortal crystals to buy 3 bottles of immortal wine? Not even inspecting the goods? What do you know, I heard that the city lord went to Punglai continent a few days ago and bought a bottle of immortal wine, but he spent 50,000 immortal crystals. What? 50,000 immortal crystals? How can there be such an expensive wine in this world? Exclamations kept ringing. After Sun Hao heard it, he was also slightly startled. 50,000 immortal crystals to buy a bottle of immortal wine? What kind of immortal wine is that? Is it stronger than my own? Impossible. If so, isn't it a loss for me to sell it? It must be that the price is too low. Thinking like this, Sun Hao waved his brush. 1 immortal crystal per bottle was changed to 10 immortal crystals per bottle. What? It's 10 times the price, it's too black. I was going to buy a bottle, but it made me break this idea in an instant. The people who were going to come forward surrounded Sun Hao and began to watch. There were more and more onlookers. There was no one who was going to come forward. Sun Hao closed his eyes and waited quietly, not caring about the strange gazes of others. A moment later, a man came forward and saluted Sun Hao respectfully. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles. He took out 30 immortal crystals and handed them to Sun Hao respectfully. The money and goods were settled, and the man cupped his fists and left. Who is this person? Why is he so stupid? He actually bought an immortal wine for 10 immortal crystals per bottle? What can I do if he is stupid and rich? I'd like to see how many idiots there are. I want to buy it, but I don't have enough immortal crystals. The sound of discussion kept ringing, and the whole scene exploded into a pot of porridge. A moment later. Greetings, young master, I'll buy 3 bottles. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles too. One by one, men and women came forward in turn and left after buying without stopping at all. Are there so many fools in this world? No, they all seem to be from the city lord's mansion. What? The people from the city lord's mansion said so. This immortal wine is probably not ordinary. Then I'm going to buy a bottle and see. What? Looking up, he couldn't help but look startled. He saw that in front of Sun Hao there was already a long line. More than 90% of the people in line were the guards of the city lord's mansion. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles too. Ding, blessing point +3 ding, blessing point +3. Hearing these prompts, Sun Hao's eyes bloomed with a strange light. Unexpectedly, after doubling the price, this wine was still so popular. Among the people who bought the immortal wine, many people secretly opened the bottle cap to take a look, and they were instantly stunned in place. After confirming that there was no one around, they lined up again. Especially the few people called fools, who only bought 1 bottle. After secretly opening it, they gave themselves a few slaps in the face. I'm AF * King Fool. This kind of peerless immortal item. I only bought 1 bottle? A big loss, I must buy 2 more bottles. They returned to the end of the line and began to line up. There were more and more people. In the entire square, at least 1 adult was queuing up to buy immortal wine. And the others, it's not that they didn't want to buy, but they couldn't afford it at all. Sun Hao's immortal wine soon spread throughout Beiluo City. Chapter 286. Beiluo City, Divine Elephant Mansion. Manor Lord. Manor Lord. A man hurriedly ran inside. In a moment of carelessness, he bumped into a strong man. Bang! The man fell to the ground, his face covered in dirt. What's the matter? Why are you so impatient? The burly man's face revealed a trace of displeasure. Young master, it's like this, someone is selling immortal wine. The man said. It's just selling immortal wine, what's so great about it? Is there a need for you to be so impatient? The burly man shouted angrily. Young master, It's because the immortal wine this person is selling is very different. You'll know when you see it. The man wasn't annoyed at all. He carefully took out a jade bottle and presented it. When the burly man opened the bottle cap, his pupils constricted and the expression on his face changed. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes to enjoy the moment. Gulp! The muscular man poured the entire bottle of immortal wine into his mouth and swallowed it in one gulp. Phew! Endless celestial power flowed through his body like a warm current. At this moment, the burly man could clearly feel that his strength was rapidly increasing. You broke through? I actually reached the second level. Just because you drank a bottle of immortal wine. If I had 10 bottles, wouldn't it be no problem for me to cultivate to the third level? What if there are 100 bottles, 1,000 bottles, or even 10,000 bottles? The more he thought about it, the brighter the burly man's face became. Let's go, take me to that wine cellar. The robust man said. Young master, I have to report this to the Lord first. The man said. The manor head has a myriad of affairs to attend to every day. He's in the middle of something big. How can we disturb him with such a small matter? Why don't we just bring a few people over and get all the immortal wine he has? At that time, I'll give you 10%. The burly man's words made the man's heart itch. Yes, young master. The man cupped his fists and bowed. Come on, let's go now. Yes, young master. In a tea house in Beiluo City. Something big has happened, something big has happened. Why are you still in the mood to drink tea? A shout came from outside the tea house. Then, a yellow-haired man quickly ran in. His appearance instantly attracted everyone's attention. What's more important than me drinking tea? That's right. Drinking tea and bragging are great pleasures in the world. What could be more important than that? What's the matter? Tell me. The yellow-haired man saw that everyone was staring at him and smiled. Let me tell you, someone is selling immortal wine. Damn, you still have the cheek to mention such a trivial matter. That's right, where can't immortal wine be sold? The yellow-haired man did not care about the crowd's disdain. He smiled and continued, ordinary celestial wine isn't a big deal. What if I tell you that the immortal wine sold by this man can raise your cultivation by at least an entire level? Furthermore, it can greatly enhance your soul, state of mind, and talent. Furthermore, this wine has no side effects. If it's this immortal wine, don't you think it's a big deal? As soon as these words came out, the surroundings were deathly silent. The men who were about to drink tea put the teacups by their mouths and did not move. What? Raising one's realm, raising one's talent, and even raising one's state of mind? Bullshit. That's right, bragging without a draft. You're really hopeless. The yellow-haired man smiled. It's up to you whether you believe it or not. You can go to the square next to the teleportation array and take a look. If I'm lucky, I might even be able to buy one. I tell you, now several royal families have already started to act. I'm afraid that at that time, there will be no share for you at all. After speaking, the yellow-haired man quickly left without any reluctance. Everyone stood in place, and the expressions on their faces changed. This guy doesn't seem to be bragging. Let's go and see. Come back for tea later. It's always right to go and see. Everyone got up and quickly went to the teleportation array square. And scenes like this were staged all over Beiluo City. Above the teleportation array square. At this moment there was a sea of people, and it was impenetrable. In front of Sun Hao, there was a long dragon winding without any connection at all. Yo, there are so many people? At this moment a sound rang out. This sound was obviously not loud, but it had a kind of magic power. The people in line all showed a trace of panic. Not good, Tai Tu is here. They retreated one after another and made way for him. They saw a group of men with all kinds of weapons in their hands slowly walking over. The man in the lead had skin as black as charcoal, and his body exuded a metallic luster. His muscles were knotted and full of explosive power. This person was the Tai Tu in everyone's mouth. He came to Sun Hao, carrying a huge metal mace, and hit the ground heavily. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the ground trembled. The whole city was buzzing and trembling. When everyone saw this scene, they stepped back a few steps, away from Tai Tu. Who is he? Why are you so afraid? You are new, right? You don't even know Tai Tu? Their original body is a giant rhinoceros, which is very powerful. In the entire Beiluo city, only the royal family can check and balance him. No wonder he is so arrogant. Everyone looked at Tai Tu, and their eyes were full of fear. At the same time, there was a trace of worry. There is no power fluctuation on that young master. This is dangerous. Yeah, the maid behind him seems to be immortal. What should we do? It seems that all the immortal wine on the young master is going to be taken away by Tai Tu. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Tai Tu. They saw that he looked at Sun Hao with a smile on his face. Kid, don't you have to pay a protection fee to sell immortal wine in the old capital's territory? Give the old capital 10,000 bottles of immortal wine, then you can continue to sell. Tai Tu tapped the ground with his mace and said. Sun Hao looked at this scene and shook his head secretly. Rumring, is it okay to kill this kid? Sun Hao asked. Of course. Seeing Huang Ruming nodding, Sun Hao was relieved. Huang Ruming's voice was not heard, but Sun Hao's voice clearly passed into Tai Tu's ears. Tai Tu picked his ears with a look of disbelief. Brothers, this kid said he was going to kill me. Tai Tu said. Haha, a group of men laughed up to the sky. You are the first one who dares to talk to the boss like this. I'd like to see how you kill my boss. A man rushed over. The power on his body shook the air, and made the air explode continuously. The fist directly broke through the air and hit Sun Hao. Seeing that it was about to hit Sun Hao. At this time, wow, there was a flash of light. The man's arm, broken at the root, fell directly to the ground. On his arm, there was a torn wound which made people's scalp tingle. Ah, a shrill scream resounded through the world. The man fell to the ground and kept howling. At this moment, there was dead silence all around. Everyone looked at this scene, full of disbelief. What happened just now? I don't know, I only saw a flash of light, and his arm was broken. No way, that young master didn't seem to move. Could it be that he was too fast for us to see clearly? Everyone opened their mouths wide, and their faces were full of astonishment. Among the crowd, there was a white-bearded old man. He watched this scene quietly. Master, what's so good about a little baby fighting? We still have business. Behind the white-bearded old man, a young man in white said. Disciple, don't worry, let's watch first. Okay. Chapter 287. Ah, boss, save me. The man fell to the ground and kept calling for help. Tai Tu's mouth twitched when he saw this. A sense of uneasiness flashed in his eyes. I warn you once, if you affect me selling wine again, I will really kill you, Sun Hao said. When Tai Tu heard this, his face turned ashen and the corner of his mouth twitched. Right now, everyone was staring at him. If he admitted defeat this time, how could he survive in Beiluo City in the future? How dare you touch my brother and say you want to kill me? Brothers, go. Destroy him for me. With a loud roar, over 100 men charged over with all kinds of weapons in their hands. Hua, light flashed, and the sound of flesh tearing rang out continuously. Sun Hao sat in place, motionless. Even his clothes were not stained with blood. After a while, around Sun Hao, there were pieces of the corpses of the iron-armored rhinoceros. The corpses were torn apart by the monster, and they looked extremely miserable. Seeing this, Sun Hao frowned slightly. Let's just directly blast them into dust. That would be more terrifying. As soon as he finished speaking, boom, boom, a series of explosions rang out. In the blink of an eye, all the body parts exploded into pieces. This, Tai Tu's voice trembled as his entire body trembled. Fear crawled all over his body like black ant. He didn't even see who came out, but his subordinates were all dead. Could he be a match for him? Today they had really kicked an iron plate. Plop! He knelt directly in front of Sun Hao and kowtowed in salute. "My lord, I have eyes but failed to see, please be magnanimous." He. Sun Hao smiled coldly. "If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, die." After he said that, swish, a ray of light rapidly arrived. "No!" A cry of unwillingness rang out. Boom! Tai Tu's body exploded into dust and disappeared on the spot. The surroundings were deathly silent. Everyone's expression changed indeterminately. Dead, they're all dead. Tai Tu is a half-immortal. Did you see how the young master attacked just now? There's nothing to see. With our strength, it's impossible for us to sense it. Is young master really immortal? Everyone murmured to themselves. For a moment they were still in a daze. "Everyone, if you want to buy wine, please continue to line up." Sun Hao's voice woke someone up. They looked at Sun Hao, their eyes full of fear, not daring to step forward. Clang clang. The sound of armor clashing against each other could be heard. One by one, the soldiers dressed in red armor rushed over. Soon, they surrounded Sun Hao, impenetrable. "These are the guards of the Golden Crow clan. Why are they here?" Needless to say, he must want to harm the young master. Many people revealed a trace of fear on their faces as they spread out and watched from afar. The person in the lead was a red-haired old man. He did not slow down and walked straight to Sun Hao with a smile on his face. "Greetings, young master." The red-haired old man cupped his fists and bowed. Although he looked respectful on the outside, his attitude was filled with arrogance. So many people are surrounding me, what do you mean?" Sun Hao said. "Young master, please follow us to the mansion to investigate the theft of immortal wine," the red-haired old man said. As soon as these words came out, "What? Does the Golden Crow residence still have any face after losing the immortal wine?" "Exactly. I haven't heard of any theft cases in the past few days. Why was their immortal wine stolen when the young master sold the wine?" "There's no need to point it out. This Golden Crow clan is the royal family after all, and they can't be offended." "What about the royal family? This shameless is simply a disgrace to my demon race." All around there was a sigh. When the red-haired old man heard this, he turned his head slightly. In his eyes 2 murderous lights burst out. At this moment, everyone seemed to sink into hell, and their bodies were cold. The sound of discussion came to an abrupt end. They couldn't help but take 2 steps back, and their faces were full of fear. Seeing this scene, the red-haired old man smiled slightly and looked at Sun Hao. "Young master, please. If I don't go, what will you do?" Sun Hao said. "Don't go?" The red-haired old man was taken aback at first, then he looked up to the sky and laughed. "In this demon Ancestor mountain, my Golden Crow clan has the final say. If you don't go, you can't bear the consequences." The red-haired old man's voice was full of threats. Sun Hao smiled slightly and sat down directly. "Bear? Just you, are you worthy?" Sun Hao's voice was not loud, but it was full of momentum. As soon as these words came out, many people's faces bloomed with a strange light. "The young master is mighty. Facing the Golden Crow clan, you are not afraid at all. Domineering. However, the young master is immortal after all. Can you resist it? I have an inexplicable pleasure to see the Golden Crow clan being defeated." Everyone's eyes were fixed on Sun Hao, and their faces were full of worry. The red-haired old man stood in place, and his face changed indefinitely. Endless anger surged all over his body. "Insulting me can be forgiven. Insulting my Golden Crow clan is absolutely unforgivable." He suppressed his anger, calmed his mood, looked at Sun Hao, and grinned. Don't think that you can be invincible in the world after killing a few ruffians. This is my demon race's territory after all. It's not your turn to behave atrociously as a human. Today you have to go, even if you don't want to. It's not up to you. The red-haired old man released his breath, and the terrifying demonic power enveloped all directions, pressing everyone's face to change dramatically, and they retreated a few steps. What? What a terrifying demonic power! I'm afraid it has reached the 9-step half-immortal realm. This temperature is so terrible, I feel like my body is going to be burned to ashes. With such strong strength, I'm afraid the city lord can't suppress him. No wonder he is so arrogant. Damn it, is the young master's wine going to be swallowed by the Golden Crow clan? Such voices kept ringing. The red-haired old man closed his eyes and quietly listened to the words around him. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and his face showed a touch of arrogance. That kid should be trembling with fear from my pressure, right? He opened his eyes and was instantly stunned in place. What? Nothing at all? Is he still immortal? Isn't he immortal? But an immortal? Thinking of this, the red-haired old man's scalp exploded, and cold sweat flowed. He stood in place, unable to advance or retreat, and sweat rolled down his forehead. Being watched by so many people, if he left, he would be slapped hard in the face. His own face was small, but the Golden Crow clan's face was big. Get lost, otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. At this time, Sun Hao's voice came. This sound was like pouring oil on a raging fire. The raging flame instantly surged through the red-haired old man's body. The remaining reason in his body was burned clean. Dare to insult my clan, kill! An order was given. Dozens of red-clothed guards rushed towards Sun Hao together. The long saber in their hands slashed down together. The space seemed to be torn apart, and layers of air waves whistled out. Seeing that the long saber was about to cut Sun Hao's head. At this time, Howl, the red wolf, let out a low roar, turned into an afterimage, and flickered rapidly. A moment later, one by one, the red-clothed guards' bodies burst into powder. At the moment of the collapse of consciousness, it was full of unwillingness. Standing in front of Sun Hao, only the red-haired old man was left. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly, and his expression was distorted. Surprise and fear kept intertwining. Plop! The red-haired old man directly knelt down and kowtowed. My lord, spare my life. Spare my life? Sun Hao smiled coldly. Chapter 288. Begging for mercy because you can't beat me? How can there be such a good thing in this world? Sun Hao's words directly sentenced the red-haired old man to death. Swish! Blood Wolf's body moved at high speed and instantly rushed out. No. Don't! An unwilling shout came to an abrupt end. Bang! The red-haired old man's body crumbled into dust and disappeared on the spot. Even in death, he did not let out a scream. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's eyes. How did that young master make a move? I didn't see it clearly. My strength is simply not enough. Cries of surprise rang out continuously. Everyone looked at Sun Hao with awe. In the crowd, the white-bearded old man stroked his long beard and nodded with a smile. The white-robed youth's face revealed a trace of surprise. On the other side of the crowd, a brawny man's eyes flickered when he saw this scene. So it's all because of that savage beast. As long as I subdue you, that savage beast will have no choice but to surrender obediently. The brawny man looked at the blood wolf and thought to himself. Pah! The brawny man clapped his hands and broke the silence. It instantly attracted everyone's attention. He took a dozen men and walked towards Sun Hao step by step. When everyone saw this, their pupils constricted and their expressions changed slightly. What? Xiang Ruba is here. Who is Xiang Ruba? You don't recognize this? He's from the Divine Elephant Clan, the son of the Divine Elephant Manor's Manor Lord. I heard that he has already cultivated the strength of the hell-crushing God Mammoth to the 1st level. Just as he finished speaking, hiss, the sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air rose and fell. Many people's faces were filled with fear. What? he actually cultivated to the first level of such a heaven-defying cultivation technique. Unbelievable! According to the legends, the strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth has a total of 108 stages. If you can cultivate it to the level of ancestral awakening, you'll become a true god mammoth, capable of ripping apart heaven and earth. No wonder the Divine Elephant Clan is second only to the Divine Phoenix Clan. Just this technique alone is so terrifying. Everyone stared at Xiang Ruba with fear written all over their faces. Xiang Ruba didn't care about this at all. Young Master's strength really makes us admire him to the extreme. I'm here to pay my respects to Young Master. Xiang Ruba saluted Sun Hao with cupped fist. On the surface, there was not the slightest bit of disrespect. Sun Hao looked at these people, and the corners of his mouth rose. Didn't he know what they were planning? In the end, they were here to target his immortal wine. No need for formalities. Sun Hao waved his hand and said lightly, "Many thanks, young master." Xiang Ruba stood up with admiration in his eyes. He took 2 steps forward. "Young master, my name is Xiang Ruba. May I know young master's name?" "Sun Hao," Sun Hao said calmly. "It turned out to be young master Sun Hao. I came here today to invite you to my house for a chat." Xiang Ruba said. "No need, just don't disturb me from selling immortal wine," Sun Hao said. Hearing this, Xiang Ruba's expression froze. As long as he could bring him back to the residence, restraining him wouldn't be a problem. Then, he would interrogate him about where the immortal wine came from. At that time, there would be no end to the immortal wine. His strength would also increase gradually. He didn't expect this fellow to be so stubborn. Since that's the case, then don't blame me for being rude." Xiang Ruba's thoughts moved as he secretly activated his martial arts and began to accumulate energy. "Young master, I'm really sorry, I will retreat now." After speaking, Xiang Ruba retreated to the side, standing there like an iron pillar. Sun Hao frowned slightly when he saw this scene. "Everyone, if you want to buy immortal wine, please come and line up as soon as possible," Sun Hao shouted. Many people were eager to try. However, when they saw Xiang Ruba's man-eating gaze, they stepped back a few steps and didn't dare to go forward. For a while, the scene fell into embarrassment. Sun Hao glanced at Xiang Ruba and frowned slightly. This guy, if he didn't take the initiative to provoke, he would be a bit difficult to deal with. With him here, it was impossible to sell immortal wine. This guy had accumulated power for a long time, and it was difficult to break his position in everyone's mind for a while. It seemed that the first 2 times were not enough. "In that case, I will use you to establish my prestige. Otherwise there would be so many demons and monsters and it would be so annoying." In Sun Hao's eyes, a flash of killing intent flashed away. "Xiang Ruba, what do you mean?" Sun Hao said. "Young master, I am waiting for you to finish selling immortal wine." Xiang Ruba bowed deeply to Sun Hao, and his attitude was extremely respectful. "After selling it?" Sun Hao asked. "Then please go to the mansion for a chat," Xiang Ruba said. "Oh, a small divine elephant mansion, is it worthy? Since you don't provoke me, then I have to provoke you." As soon as these words came out, there was dead silence all around. Everyone stared at Sun Hao, and the expression on their faces changed. Young Master Sun Hao's words were really awesome. "Aren't you afraid that Xiang Ruba will jump up violently?" His body was a divine elephant, and he cultivated the divine elephant overpowering strength, and his strength was terrifying. The atmosphere was stagnant at this moment, and everyone's heart was beating violently and extremely nervous. When Xiang Ruba heard this, his eyebrows twitched. Soon, he recovered. He clasped his fists slightly. "Young master, you are right, my divine elephant mansion is really not worthy. Since you have self-awareness, why don't you get lost?" Sun Hao said. "Presumptuous." One of Xiang Ruba's men pointed at Sun Hao and shouted, "You are presumptuous." Xiang Ruba shouted loudly, stretched out his right hand, and slapped it, instantly sending the man flying and hitting the ground heavily. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out. The man struggled a few times, but he couldn't stand up. He looked at Xiang Ruba blankly, his face full of grievances. All around, the onlookers were all full of doubts. Even Sun Hao was slightly startled. This slap was not light at all. "What are you looking at? Dare to disrespect the young master, beating you is light." Xiang Ruba stood in front of Sun Hao and saluted with his fists. "Young master, I'm really sorry, I'm not strict in discipline. Get lost, don't let me see you," Sun Hao said. "Yes, young master." After speaking, Xiang Ruba stepped back a few steps and stood aside, motionless. "I told you to get lost, not to let you stand there. Are you deaf? What a fool, there is no one in this world who is as cheap as you." Sun Hao was surprised to find that all kinds of mockery were useless. Xiang Ruba was obviously very angry, but he didn't make a move. This kind of willpower really made him look at him in a new light. Since he didn't make a move, why did he still stand here? There was no reason at all. Then, there were only two reasons. Either he was waiting for reinforcements or he was accumulating some kind of big move. Was he afraid? Of course, he was afraid. However, with Rumming behind him, no matter how strong a half-immortal was, could he go to the sky? There was also Big Wolf, whose strength had already broken through the immortal realm. With the two of them protecting him, he would be safe and sound. Thinking like this, Sun Hao closed his eyes and waited quietly. Soon after, Xiang Ruba came forward with a sneer on his face. "Young master, do you want to go to my house with me, or should I invite you to go to my house?" Sun Hao opened his eyes, and two rays of light burst out. It seemed that the big move was ready. Chapter 289. Not good. Xiang Ruba's momentum has changed. It seems like you were just pretending to be humble just now. Is there a master in the dark? Everyone looked at this scene with worry on their faces. Sun Hao opened his eyes and grinned, finally showing his fangs. "Please." Xiang Ruba made a gesture of invitation. This gesture was just completed. Whoosh, beside him, dozens of figures rushed towards Sun Hao. Their speed was as fast as lightning. There were even two people who turned into giant eagles, standing in the distance, flapping their wings. Hoo! The air was like a sharp knife, whistling towards Sun Hao. Howl! Seeing this scene, Blood Wolf let out a low roar. He turned into an afterimage and rushed toward a group of men. Everywhere he went, he heard only the sound of the body cracking. In the blink of an eye, the men who rushed over, without exception, burst into powder. Whoosh! Blood Wolf's speed did not decrease, and he rushed toward the two giant eagles. Seeing this scene, the giant eagles flapped their wings, soared into the sky, and fled quickly. Howl! A furious roar shook the sky and caused it to buzz. The two giant eagles' bodies fell to the ground uncontrollably. Blood Wolf instantly rushed in front of them, and two claws slapped down. At the same time, good chance. Xiang Ruba moved the moment Blood Wolf rushed out. Kacha! Xiang Ruba's joints made a cracking sound. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a golden giant elephant. The giant elephant was 10 meters high, and its body exuded the power to tear the sky. Buzz! Rays of light surged on the giant elephant, bursting out a thrilling aura. Seeing this scene, everyone's expression stagnated, and their faces showed incomparable panic. Such a thick golden color! I'm afraid that Xiang Ruba's divine elephant overpowering strength has been cultivated to the second level. What a terrible pressure, my heart seems to stop beating. Does Xiang Ruba want to destroy the teleportation array? He actually used the divine elephant overpowering strength? The onlookers were in a panic. Everyone used their means and ran back. Those who could stay were either skilled and bold or some hotheads. It's not that the hotheads didn't want to run, but their legs were filled with lead, and it was difficult to move at all. Among the crowd of onlookers, The white-bearded old man looked at this scene and said, "This young Ruba is not simple." "Master, why do you say that?" the white-robed youth asked. He must have seen the extraordinariness of the beasts around Sun Hao. "I don't dare to fight him head-on." He waited for the savage beasts to attack his two subordinates before making his move. Furthermore, the white-bearded old man said, "He's been enduring the humiliation for so long to build up his strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth." What? How could Xiang Ruba be so scheming? Could it be that all the rumors are false? Also, is there a need to use your trump card against a mere mortal? The white-robed youngster said. This is why Xiang Ruba is so terrifying. Against a mere mortal, he uses all of his methods and doesn't dare to underestimate him. But the white-bearded old man stroked his long beard. "Master, but what? Is Sun Hao in danger? Should we make a move?" the youth in white asked. "However, Xiang Ruba is in danger," the old man said. "What? That's the second level of the strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth. Even ordinary immortals can't confront it head-on. How could Xiang Ruba be in danger?" the youth in white asked. "Don't worry, just watch," the white-bearded old man said. Both of their eyes were fixed on Xiang Ruba, who, boundless waves of air whistled around. The whole earth was buzzing and trembling, as if it couldn't stand the pressure of the divine elephant. Boom! The ground exploded quickly, like a quilt being lifted. Kacha! The surrounding houses seemed to be unable to stand this pressure and were collapsing quickly. Boom! There was a loud noise and the earth shook. Xiang Ruba arrived in the blink of an eye, and the elephant's trunk came quickly, aimed at Sun Hao, and rolled down. The terrifying power made people's scalp numb. Seeing that the elephant's trunk was about to roll Sun Hao and entangle him. At this time, Sun Hao's eyes swept and stared directly at Xiang Ruba. This gaze, like the eyes of hell, stared at Xiang Ruba's head. In the next second, his scalp was numb, and cold sweat was flowing. He was horrified to find that all the power in his body was sealed. The whole person seemed to collapse without any strength. After his nose was grabbed by Sun Hao's hand, his whole body fell down as if it was electrocuted. The pressure around him disappeared completely. Woo! Xiang Ruba let out a sad cry. His voice was mournful, shaking the sky. "I don't provoke you. It doesn't mean I'm afraid of you. No matter what clan you are, those who kill me will be killed." After speaking, Sun Hao's fist fell, and Xiang Ruba's head roared and buzzed. Boom! Another punch cracked Xiang Ruba's body, and he was riddled with scars. In less than a moment, Xiang Ruba had fallen to the ground, motionless. Mercy, in his mouth, only these two words could be said. That kind of regret and unwillingness were written all over his face. "Mercy? If I fall into your hands, can you spare me?" "Die." Sun Hao raised his fist and blasted it down at Xiang Ruba. No, a cry of unwillingness rang out. Immediately afterward, boom, his fist fell. Xiang Ruba's head burst into powder. Immediately afterward, his body also collapsed into a blood mist and disappeared on the spot. Such a scene strongly stimulated the nerves of the onlookers. The expressions on everyone's faces were similar at this moment. That kind of shock, that kind of disbelief, that kind of surprise, words couldn't describe it. It took a long time for them to recover from the shock. A moment later, hiss, the sound of cold air rose and fell one after another. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Sun Hao. In their eyes there was deep awe. Killed? Xiang Ruba died just like that? The strongest physical cultivation method, the divine elephant overpowering strength, is so vulnerable. Am I dreaming? He killed Xiang Ruba with a few punches? Everyone muttered to themselves, and they didn't come back to their senses for a long time. Young Master Sun Hao has such terrible strength. Is he an immortal? Except for immortals, half immortals can do it. I should have thought of it long ago. How can his strength be ordinary if he can sell such immortal wine? The sound of explosions kept ringing. The whole scene was noisy, and for a while, it couldn't calm down at all. Woo! The blood wolf quickly ran to Sun Hao's side and kept wagging its tail, very cheerful. Are you a dog or a wolf? You can even shake your tail. Not bad, not bad, Sun Hao said. Hearing Sun Hao's praise, the red wolf's tail swept left and right quickly. It looked like an experienced bootlicker. Sun Hao looked at the expressions of the onlookers in the distance, and the corners of his mouth rose. Presumably, his move just now must have scared a lot of people. It was enough to establish prestige. He recovered his mood and said, "Everyone, there is not much immortal wine left. If you need it, come and line up as soon as possible." The onlookers looked at Sun Hao, eager to try, wanting to move but not daring to move. The bold ones quickly ran toward Sun Hao. "Greetings, young master. I want to buy 3 bottles of immortal wine." The attitude of the people who came was several times more respectful than before. Okay. The money and goods were settled, and the blessing point arrived. Soon, there was a long line in front of Sun Hao. Chapter 290. In the crowd, the young man in white stared with his eyes wide open, stunned, and did not return to his senses for a long time. "Master, did you see it just now?" He sealed Xiang Rubo with just one look. The young man in white said, "I saw it. Young Master Sun Hao's means are heavenly, and his strength is far above Master." The old man with white beard said, "What? Is he a supreme immortal?" The young man in white asked. "I'm afraid it's far more than that. It's likely to be an immortal king," the old man with white beard said. The young man in white opened his mouth wide and muttered for a long time without returning to his senses. "Master, so to say, his strength is not weaker than the demon emperor?" "Yes." After these words were said. Hiss! The young man took a breath of cold air. "Master, I didn't expect that our human race would have such an immortal king. Do we still have to rely on the demon emperor?" The young man in white said. "Don't be presumptuous." The old man with white beard showed a majestic face. "The demon emperor's kindness to us is as heavy as a mountain. Such disrespectful words, don't say it again." "Yes, master." The young man in white clasped his fist and saluted respectfully. "Well, let's get down to business," the old man with white beard said. "Master, don't we buy some immortal wine?" the young man in white asked. "Immortal wine? Forget it. No matter how powerful that thing is, it is also an external force. Cultivation must rely on oneself." "Master, this disciple understands. Let's go." The old man with white beard grabbed the young man's hand and took him with a flash of figure, disappearing. Not long after the two disappeared. In the crowd, a man in a green robe showed a cold smile, and then gradually disappeared. In the square, in front of Sun Hao, the crowd lined up in a long line. Ding, blessing point +3. Ding, blessing point +3. Such a prompt sounded continuously. After Sun Hao heard it, he showed a look of joy. 190,000, almost 200,000. This time, will something happen? Sun Hao's eyes were fixed on the blessing point panel, motionless. A moment later, the blessing point reached 200,000. However, no special event happened. "It seems that I think too much." Sun Hao smiled and shook his head, continuing to sell wine. Divine Elephant Mansion, deep underground, in a secret room. A middle-aged man sat cross-legged on the ground, with a closed look of cultivation. This person was the Divine Elephant Manor's Manor Lord, Xiang Tiechi. Suddenly, "Manor Head, bad news." A cry of surprise came from outside the secret room. Xiang Tiechi slowly opened his eyes, a trace of displeasure appearing on his face. Walking out of the chamber, Xiang Tiechi looked at the commander and said, "I already said that I am not to be disturbed during cultivation. Manor Head, I don't want to either. Young master has been killed," the commander said. "What?" Xiang Tiechi's expression froze, grief and anger flashing across his face. "What exactly happened?" Xiang Tiechi asked. Manor head, it's like this. The commander explained the situation in detail. Hearing this, Xiang Tiechi's expression kept changing. Gotcha! He clenched his fists so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. Damned human, how dare you be so arrogant and despotic in front of us monsters and kill my son? If I don't skin you alive and pull out your tendons, I won't be able to vent the hatred in my heart. Pass down the order. Gather all the guards immediately. Yes, Manor head. The commander secretly wiped his cold sweat and quickly retreated. Xiang Tiechi stood where he was, filled with rage. At this moment, buzz, the communication jade scroll vibrated for a while. When he opened it, Xiang Tiechi's face changed slightly, and he secretly thought that it was not good. He returned to the secret room and stood in front of a wall, his hands forming seals, and his mouth muttering words. This wall rippled with layers of ripples. Xiang Tiechi did not hesitate at all and walked into it and disappeared. When he appeared again, he had already arrived at a certain space. In front of him stood a green-robed figure. Greetings, Lord. Without any hesitation, Xiang Tiechi knelt down. How are you preparing? The green-robed figure said. Lord, I'm completely ready. Xiang Tiechi said. Well done, when this matter is over, I will ask for a reward from Lord. The green-robed figure said. As soon as these words came out, Xiang Tiechi's eyes flickered, and his body trembled with excitement, completely forgetting that his son had just died. Thank you, Lord. Xiang Tiechi knelt down and kept bowing. Get up, don't be happy too early. If this matter is not done well, your and my lives will be in danger. The green-robed figure said. Don't worry, Lord, as long as old man Yuli comes, I will definitely make him unable to return. Xiang Tiechi patted his chest and said. He's already here. The green-robed figure said. As soon as these words came out, Xiang Tiechi's eyebrows raised, and the expression on his face changed indeterminately. What? Where is he? Xiang Tiechi said. He should be in the city lord mansion now. Let's begin the extermination plan. The green-robed figure said. What? Xiang Tiechi's pupils constricted, and his expression changed slightly. Lord, but my demon clan is still in the city. If we start the extermination plan, I'm afraid that they will all die. To be able to destroy old man Yuli, some necessary sacrifices are worth it. Don't worry, Lord has a shocking technique that can bring the dead back to life. Those who die will be resurrected. The green-robed figure said. But Xiang Tiechi wanted to say something but hesitated. What, you dare to disobey orders? The green-robed figure released his aura, and Xiang Tiechi lowered his head weakly. Yes, Lord. Xiang Tiechi quickly retreated. Beiluo City, in the city lord mansion. A man in a blue robe sat in front of the table, and in front of him, there were many jade bottles. This man was Beiluo City's city lord, Hu Luoxian. In this world, there is actually such immortal wine. Hu Luoxian picked up a jade bottle, opened the bottle cap, took a deep breath, and showed a look of enjoyment with closed eyes. Just taking a breath is equivalent to 10 days of my cultivation. Incredible! I didn't expect that it was really young Master Sun Hao. If I send these hundreds of bottles back, I'm afraid the crisis of my clan can be solved. When young Master Sun Hao finishes selling the immortal wine, I will go to visit him. Hu Luoxian muttered to himself and put all the jade bottles in front of him into the soul space. Suddenly, Hu Luoxian raised his eyebrows and looked up, only to see a white-bearded old man and a white-clothed youth appear in the room. When the two appeared, he didn't know at all. Who are you? Hu Luoxian took 2 steps back, and a trace of fear appeared on his face. City Lord Hu, this old man is Yuli. This time I am looking for you to discuss something important. As soon as these words came out, Hu Luoxian couldn't help but shrink his pupils. He pointed to the long-bearded old man, his voice trembling. You are one of the 4 great generals in front of the demon emperor Old Man Yuli? Yes. Old Man Yuli nodded slightly. Then aren't you another general, Earth Venerable? Hu Luoxian asked. Yes. The white-clothed youth, Earth Venerable, nodded. Hiss, Hu Luoxian took a breath of cold air, and his body trembled slightly. Two generals came at the same time, something big must have happened. Greetings to the two lords. Hu Luoxian knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Chapter 291. Beiluo City, on the square. Sun Hao looked at the rapidly growing blessing point, and his eyes shone brightly, constantly shining. If this goes on, it won't take long for it to be full. At that time, he would be able to obtain a supreme physique and open the path of cultivation. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles. The attitude of the people who came up to buy the immortal wine was very respectful. It seems that the effect of establishing prestige is good. Looking at the awe on everyone's faces, Sun Hao nodded secretly. Soon after, buzz, suddenly there was a roar. It came from the center of the square. The whole ground was buzzing and shaking like an earthquake. Boom! There was a loud noise. In the center of the square, the ground exploded, and a black pointed object broke out of the ground. Such a scene scared everyone to the point where they stood dumbfounded. They stepped back one after another, watching from a distance. They saw, as the pointed object drilled out, a square black stone tablet appeared in front of everyone. Buzz, as the black stone tablet drilled out, the whole city was shaking. The stone tablet drilled out tens of meters high before it stopped. The stone tablet was engraved with formation patterns. The 5-colored light kept flowing on the stone tablet. It looked like it was shining brightly. What is this? It seems to be an ancient tablet. What is this used for? Why is there such a thing buried under Beiluo City? Everyone's face was full of doubts. Even Sun Hao, at this moment, looked up at the stone tablet with a face full of doubts. In the entire Beiluo City, there were thousands of such stone tablets. At this moment, all the people in Beiluo City looked up at the stone tablet, their faces full of doubts. Soon after, buzz, all the stone tablets were trembling, and the 5-colored light drilled out of the ground, flowing on the formation patterns, and drilled to the top of the stone tablet. The 5-colored light quickly dissipated, turning into red light that rushed to the top of the tablet, so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. Whoosh! A red silk thread flew out from the top of the tablet and connected to the nearest stone tablet. From a distance, it looked like a red light net, covering the entire Beiluo City. Above the light net, the red electric light kept darting, bursting with a powerful electric current. What the hell is this? Who knows? I have an uneasy feeling, as if something big is going to happen. Everyone looked up, their faces full of worry. Not good, the city gate has been sealed, we can't go out. A loud shout woke everyone up. At this moment, Beifeng City was instantly thrown into chaos. Many people started running towards the city gate. The area around the city gate was soon packed to the brim. Many people were squeezing out. However, sizzle, the people who had just reached the city gate felt as if their bodies had been pierced by a powerful electric current and turned into charcoal. Finally, with a bang, it exploded. Seeing this scene, everyone felt their scalps go numb, and cold sweat flowed down their back. All of them retreated with fear written all over their faces. Oh no, this is the immortal vanquishing formation. The voice wasn't loud, but it was like a clap of thunder in everyone's mind. What? Is this the legendary immortal vanquishing formation? The immortal vanquishing formation can even kill immortals. What should we do? Who is it? What does he want to do? Do you want to kill us all? Looks like it. How ruthless. Despair gradually appeared on everyone's face. Many immortal cultivators soared into the sky, trying to fly out from the gaps in the red net. However, they had just flown up. Sizzle, a wisp of red lightning fell and instantly blasted them into powder. Such a scene scared everyone in place, and the look of despair grew stronger and stronger. Who will save us? Damn it! Damn it! He's too ruthless. Desperate cries kept ringing in the city. At this moment, the sound of crying, cursing, exploding, the sound was intertwined and lingered. A desperate atmosphere surged through the entire city. Many people collapsed to the ground. At this moment, there was a burst of laughter in the sky. Everyone looked up and their faces changed slightly. That's the Divine Elephant Mansion's master, Xiang Tiechi. Could it be that he arranged this immortal vanquishing formation? Those who seek death, we are demons. Mansion Master, we are the vassals of the Divine Elephant Clan, how can you treat us like this? These voices, when they reached the ears of Xiang Tiechi in the sky, his face was full of a cold smile. Vassals of my clan? You can rest assured and die. Sacrifice for my clan, that is your destiny. All of you go to hell. Xiang Tiechi roared to the sky. Immediately, above the red light net, the electric light was like silk, falling rapidly. The shocking power seemed to be able to destroy heaven and earth. Everyone looked at this scene, their faces were full of despair, their bodies trembling violently. No, I don't want to die. I'm only 500 years old, I'm still young. Cries of despair kept ringing, seeing that the electric light was about to fall on everyone. At this moment, boom, the ground exploded, dust whizzed up, forming a dust shield, covering the entire Beiluo city. Boom, the electric light fell on the shield, and there was a continuous explosion. The dust shield twisted violently, absorbing all the electric light. Not dead, I'm not dead? What happened? Who saved us? Everyone looked up to the sky, their eyes lit up, and their faces were full of joy. That's the Earth Venerable! What? The 9 immortals of the human race. The Earth Venerable is still alive? I didn't expect the Earth Venerable to save us. Thank you, Earth Venerable. Many people knelt down, kowtowing in salute. Under the dust shield, there was a young man in white standing there, holding up the shield with his right hand. His face was handsome, and his temperament was extraordinary. He was the Earth Venerable that everyone was talking about. On the square, Huang Ruming looked at the Earth Venerable, and the expression on her face changed. He is the Earth Venerable, one of the 4 generals of the Mother Empress? So, isn't old Manueli here too? It seems that the young master doesn't have to do anything. Huang Ruming thought secretly. Ruming, can we smash those stone tablets? Sun Hao asked. Young master, of course there is no problem. However, now that an immortal has appeared, you don't have to do anything. Huang Ruming said. Good. Sun Hao nodded and looked up at the sky. Only to see. Xiang Tiechi looked at the Earth Venerable, the corner of his mouth slightly raised, and a sneer flashed away. That expression was as if he controlled everything. Finally appeared. I thought you didn't care about their lives. Xiang Tiechi said. You laid this big formation to deal with me? The Earth Venerable's face showed a hint of surprise. No, Xiang Tiechi waved his hand, it's to deal with you too. Deal with the 2 of us? The Earth Venerable's face showed a trace of uneasiness. The corner of Xiang Tiechi's mouth raised slightly, his eyes swept not far away and said, Old Manueli, come out, don't hide. The words just fell. Buzz, the air shook up layers of ripples. A figure walked out of the ripples, flashed, and instantly appeared in front of Xiang Tiechi. Chapter 292. The man had a head full of white hair and a waist-length beard. He looked like an immortal. He was Elder Yueli. He stood in front of Xiang Tiechi and said, Xiang Tiechi, as a member of the Divine Elephant Clan, do you know what this means? Xiang Tiechi laughed. No one knows what will happen if you all die. Blame yourself for being a human for meddling in the demon clan's business. Xiang Tiechi said. Meddling? We only follow the orders of the Demon King. If you do this, you will anger the Demon King and implicate the Divine Elephant Clan. Elder Yueli said. Implicate the Divine Elephant Clan? The way I see it, you guys are really not ordinary fools. When we eliminate the 4 generals of the Demon King, the Demon King will not be able to protect himself. Think about what's in front of you. Then, Xiang Tiechi's joints made cracking sounds. His whole body expanded rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, he turned into a 100-meter-tall giant elephant. The giant elephant emitted a dazzling golden light, making it hard for people to open their eyes. Seeing this, everyone's expression changed. Such a strong golden light, Xiang Tiechi's divine elephant overpowering strength has probably reached the 10th level. What? The 10th level? Then his strength is also that of an immortal. This Xiang Tiechi really hit it well. What should we do? Can Elder Yueli deal with him? Don't worry, Elder Yueli and the Earth Venerable are both Demon King generals. How can they not have some strength? Plus, it's 2 against 1. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the sky. Their hearts were in their throats, and they were extremely nervous. Hee, looks like you are confident of winning? Since that's the case, let this old man fight you. Elder Yueli looked at the Earth Venerable and said, Disciple, I will leave them to you to protect. Don't worry, Master. As long as I am alive, no one can hurt them. The Earth Venerable said. All right. Elder Yueli nodded and stared at Xiang Rudi as he walked towards him. Every step he took made the heaven and earth tremble, and the light disappeared temporarily. Elder Yueli's body overflowed with layers of white light, as bright as moonlight. As he got closer to Xiang Rudi, the light on his body became brighter. Overall, it looked like a glowing gem in the shape of a human, extremely beautiful. Buzz, suddenly. Old Man Yueli disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already in front of Xiang Tiechi. He raised his fist and threw a punch at him. Buzz! The air was distorted by the collision. Just in time. Xiang Tiechi coldly snorted. His elephant trunk danced wildly, creating a whirlwind that blasted towards Old Man Yueli. Boom! With a loud bang, heaven and earth trembled. The great city barrier formation and the red net trembled incessantly as if they were about to collapse. Thud! Xiang Tiechi's body was pushed back, and he had to use a lot of strength to stabilize himself. He looked at Old Man Yueli with fear in his eyes. All right. Well done. Old Man Yueli, mighty! Exclamations and applause rang out continuously. Everyone's faces were filled with excitement. Xiang Tiechi stared at the ground with a look of hatred on his face. Since that's the case, all of you can die. Sizzle, above the immortal vanquishing formation, countless red electric arcs lit up, like a waterfall, sprinkling layer by layer. It looked like it could not stop at all. Old man, I'm going to fight you. After that, Xiang Rubo went straight to Old Man Yueli. Boom! For a moment, the two of them fought together, and the sound of explosions continued. Humph! The Earth Venerable looked at the electric arcs sprinkling in the sky and waved his right hand. Phew! On the ground, endless layers of powder rushed to the sky, condensed into layers of dust shield, and blended together. Sizzle! The electric arcs kept sprinkling, madly hitting the dust shield. Boom! The shield was distorted, and the sound of explosions kept ringing. The Earth Venerable frowned, madly drawing power to supplement the shield. The immortal vanquishing formation did not have a trace of electric arcs falling. Boom! In the sky, Old Man Yueli and Xiang Tiechi were locked in a fierce battle. The great city barrier formation kept twisting. Everyone's heart seemed to jump out of their throat, very nervous. Is this a battle between immortals? Too scary. I didn't expect that Old Man Yueli actually fought with Xiang Tiechi with only his body, really powerful. This power won't break the great city barrier formation, right? Not to that extent, this great city barrier formation, unless it's a supreme immortal, it really can't be broken. A moment later. Boom! Xiang Tiechi's body flew backward, hitting the great city barrier formation, making a loud sound. Puff! A mouthful of blood came out from Xiang Tiechi's mouth. He struggled several times, but could not stand up. Phew, old man Yueli stood in front of Xiang Tiechi. Speak, who ordered you? Haha, don't even think about it. Xiang Tiechi's face was determined. Since you don't want to speak, then you can die. Old man Yueli said. The one who will die is you. Xiang Tiechi roared, struggled to stand up, used all his strength, and madly rushed towards old man Yueli. Humph, overestimating yourself. Old man Yueli coldly snorted, unhurriedly stretched out his hand, and blasted at Xiang Tiechi. Boom! Boom! Two loud sounds. Xiang Tiechi and old man Yueli's body flew back at the same time, heavily hitting the great city barrier formation. Old man Yueli's light instantly dimmed by 90%. Mouthfuls of black blood came out from old man Yueli's mouth. One hit, serious injury. The one who attacked was a green-robed man, wearing a mask on his face, making people unable to see his face clearly. This scene directly scared everyone's silly uneasiness, surging all over their body. Master! Earth Venerable let out a roar. Don't worry about me. Protect them. Old man Yueli struggled to stand up, looking at the green-robed man not far away, his face full of fear. Looks like you are the mastermind behind this? Old man Yueli asked. Ha ha! The green-robed man laughed, slightly shaking his head. Dead people don't need to know. Racking your brains just to kill us, what benefit does this bring to you? Old man Yueli said. I said, dead people don't need to know. The green-robed man's figure flashed, instantly disappearing. When he reappeared, he was already in front of old man Yueli. Old man Yueli's face changed, madly drawing his body's strength to block the green-robed man's punch. Boom! Without any accident, old man Yueli's body flew back, heavily hitting the great city barrier formation. Puff! A mouthful of blood sprayed all over the sky. At this moment, old man Yueli could not stand up. No, Earth Venerable let out an unwilling roar. Madly drawing his body's strength, blasted upwards. Boom! The loud sound continued, the red net trembled violently, as if it was about to burst open. An ant, overestimating yourself. The green-robed man waved his right hand, turning off the exterminating immortal great array. Who? His figure instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already standing in front of Earth Venerable. Boom! A punch directly hit Earth Venerable. Boom! Earth Venerable's body flew, heavily falling to the ground, dust rising to the sky. Chapter 293. Boom! The earthly Venerable fell to the ground, and the ground exploded. The aftershock swept out in all directions, and everywhere it passed, everything was crushed into powder. Within a radius of half a mile, regardless of whether it was the houses, demonic cultivators, or human cultivators, they were all vaporized. The terrifying dust formed a mushroom cloud that soared into the sky. After a long time, the surroundings gradually calmed down. What should we do? Two immortals are no match for him. This is a conspiracy. We will definitely die. The tables had turned and everyone fell into despair. In front of such an expert, any struggle was futile. Phew! The green-robed man waved his right hand and a force enveloped Elder Yueli and the earthly Venerable, bringing them before him. At this moment, the two of them were already on the verge of death and didn't have the slightest strength to struggle. No, please don't kill them. Someone save these two immortals. Such a good person can't die like this. Cries of despair continued to ring out in the sky. If you do this, the demon emperor will not let you off, old man Yueli said. The green-robed man didn't say anything. He just stood there calmly. Haha, Xiang Tiechi struggled to stand up and looked at old lady Yueli. That old witch can't even protect herself, how would she have the chance to care about you? Just as he finished speaking. What did you just say? At this moment, a voice resounded in all directions. His voice wasn't loud, but it was filled with anger. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice, and their pupils constricted. That's young Master's son Hao. He made a move? Could he be an immortal? Everyone's faces were filled with joy and worry. Their eyes were all fixed on Sun Hao, motionless. Sun Hao, with a red puppy, stepped on the air step by step, walked to Xiang Tiechi, and looked at him coldly. His gaze swept over. Instantly, Xiang Tiechi's body shuddered. He was horrified to find that his strength was rapidly draining away. Something was not right. In his body, the power was still there, but it was not under his control. He had been sealed. What was going on? How could a mortal possess such a technique? What did you just say? Say it again. Sun Hao's voice was cold and his killing intent rose. Rumeng was his family. Wasn't her mother also his relative? How can we forgive you for insulting our family like this? It was inconvenient for Rumeng to take action, but he had nothing to worry about. Who exactly are you? Xiang Tiechi's voice trembled. Wrong answer, teach him a lesson, but don't kill him. As soon as these words came out, swish, the blood wolf turned into a flash of lightning and pounced toward Xiang Tiechi. Howl, shrill screams shook the sky. When Xue Lang returned to his side, Xiang Tiechi's body was covered with cuts and bruises. He floated in the air, wailing mournfully. The green-robed man's expression kept changing when he saw this. The strength of that savage beast is probably far above mine. Damn it, I didn't notice it before. I didn't expect it to be hiding its strength. What should we do now? The green-robed man retreated slowly with Old Man Yueli and the terrestrial venerable. Did I let you go? A sound was heard. The green-robed man's body trembled, and he used his hand to stop Old Man Yueli. Don't come over, otherwise I will kill the two of them. Kill him? Sun Hao turned around, and his gaze fell on the green-robed man in an instant. Suddenly, the green-robed man's body trembled, feeling as if his whole body had lost its strength. This is impossible? One look and my whole body's strength was sealed? Even if he is an immortal king, it is impossible to be so strong. The green-robed man's voice trembled, and his whole body trembled. He looked at Sun Hao, full of horror. The next second, his scalp was numb. He didn't know when, but Xue Lang had already come to him, and the terrifying claws fell on him. No, a cry of unwillingness rang out. The green-robed man's body flew out upside down, slamming heavily on the city protection array, vomiting blood. You forced me to do this. No matter who you are, don't even think about saving them. All of you go to hell. On the other side, Xiang Tiechi let out a roar. A wisp of undetectable light flew out of his body. Immediately afterward, Buzz, the immortal vanquishing array lit up with a dazzling red light. Wisps of electric light, moving quickly, bursting out a soul-stirring aura. Not good, he wants to blow up Beluo City. It's over, I'm finished. Young Master Sun Hao, run! Shouts kept ringing. Many people were paralyzed directly to the ground, without any strength. Seeing this scene, Xiang Tiechi's face was full of a cold smile. Seeing that, a waterfall of electric light was about to fall into the city. At this time, howl, a beast's roar shook the world. Xue Lang's body changed rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a giant beast with a height of 100 meters. Overbearing and mighty, its aura was monstrous. Xue Lang stretched out his shocking claws and slapped down. Gotcha! The sound of eggshells cracking sounded. All the stone tablets in the city collapsed into powder. The blood-colored electric light all disappeared. With just a light blow, the immortal vanquishing array was shattered. This is impossible. Xiang Tiechi looked at this scene in a daze, his face full of disbelief. As soon as he looked up, he found that Xue Lang was already standing in front of him. The two giant beasts' bodies were not much different. However, their auras were far apart. Howl, Xue Lang roared, stretched out his claws, aimed at Xiang Tiechi, and blasted down. Don't! The unwilling cry stopped abruptly. At the moment when the claws fell, Xiang Tiechi's huge body directly evaporated into nothingness. Who, after doing this, Xuelang's body shrank rapidly and returned to Sun Hao's side. Well done. Sun Hao touched Xuelang's head. Woo! After Xuelang heard it, he kept wagging his tail, very happy. Such a scene, in the eyes of everyone below, all stood in place. They looked up at the sky, opened their mouths, and murmured for a long time without saying a word. Shock, gratitude, awe, all kinds of emotions surged through everyone's heart. Afterward, they cried with joy and hugged each other. Sun, the savage beast beside young Master Sun Hao, I'm afraid it's already in the profound, immortal realm. Absolutely more than that. Destroying the array without hurting us, this power control is definitely an Earth Immortal, or even a Heaven Immortal. What? The Heaven Immortal is actually young Master Sun Hao's pet. How strong is young Master Sun Hao? Terrifying, unimaginable. Speaking of this, the sound of gasping came one after another. Everyone looked at Sun Hao with gratitude and worship. Thank you, young Master Sun Hao, for saving my life. Everyone knelt down and kowtowed to Sun Hao. Sun Hao looked at this scene in a daze, and his inner emotions were extremely complicated. There was a touch of embarrassment on his face. It felt good to borrow Ru Meng's power to pretend again. He couldn't help it, who asked him to scold Ru Meng's mother. He really couldn't control himself. Don't be polite, everyone, get up, Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Everyone stood up one after another, worshipping Sun Hao, constantly sweeping over him. At this moment, Sun Hao was like a superstar, attracting everyone's attention. Hee, you're happy too early. At this moment, a voice sounded. Chapter 294. The old man Yueli and the Earth Venerable looked at Sun Hao, and the expressions on their faces kept changing. After the two swallowed the medicinal pills, they walked forward, knelt in front of Sun Hao, and kowtowed in salute. Thank you, young master, for saving my life. Don't be so polite. Sun Hao helped the two up. What you two have done makes me admire you very much. It's a blessing to have you in the world. Sun Hao said. Young master's praise, we are ashamed. Our strength is still too weak. It is a blessing for all races to have a capable person like young master in the world. The old man Yueli said. He knew that it was flattery, but it sounded particularly comfortable. Sun Hao smiled slightly, took out 20 bottles of immortal wine from his arms, and handed 10 bottles to each of them. You too, this is a little immortal wine brewed by me, please accept it. Thank you, young master. The two took the immortal wine and saluted with their fists. After that, without looking at it, they threw it into the soul space. Young master, amazing! Young master is really a model for our generation. Below, the sound of admiration kept ringing. Everyone's face was full of joy. Hee, you are happy too early. At this moment, a sound rang out. This abrupt sound woke everyone up with a start. All of you, die with me. A roar shook the world. Looking up, his pupils shrank and his face changed dramatically. Only to see. The city protection array was trembling violently, and the light above was getting weaker and weaker. Subsequently, Gotcha! A crack spread rapidly around like a spider web. Boom! There was an explosion. The city protection array collapsed instantly. Everyone knew very well what it meant without the city protection array. As long as there was a space turbulence, everyone would be pulled into it. At that time, their bodies and souls would be destroyed, and they would never be reincarnated. Compared with death, this was 10,000 times more terrible. Not good, the city protection array is broken. Damn it, this is trying to pull us down together. Run, run. The whole city fell into chaos. Everyone's face was full of horror. That kind of despair was 10 times stronger than before. They quickly rushed toward the city gate, trying to escape the city. It was just that it was too late. At the moment when the city protection array collapsed, Gotcha! A thunderbolt crossed the sky. His voice shook heaven and earth. Everyone was so shocked that they trembled. They raised their heads to look at the sky, and they couldn't help but feel their scalps go numb. Their bodies were ice cold. The sky seemed to have been torn into two halves by someone and was expanding rapidly. It was as if a huge heavenly eye was staring at everyone. In the crack. Phew, the spatial turbulence continued to howl. The terrifying might made one's scalp go numb. Every time it whistled through the air, it would cause people to tremble. Phew, inside the crack, countless black threads were rapidly falling. Layer upon layer, like a woman's hair floating down. Just one look was enough to make one shudder with fear. The appearance of these black threads caused the surroundings to darken in an instant. What the hell is this? How did the spatial turbulence become like this? Help, help, that heaven eye was like an abyss from hell, sending out nothing but despair. The black threads came closer and closer. That cold and chilling aura was emitted from it, covering all of Westfall City. At this moment, everyone felt as if they were being strangled, unable to make a sound. Their widened eyes were filled with endless fear. Their legs trembled uncontrollably. Thump, thump, one by one, they crawled on the ground, shivering. On the entire field, only Sun Hao was standing. Even Blood Wolf and Huang Rumring were no exception. Buzz, the heaven eye trembled, and the cold aura enveloped Sun Hao. All the black threads flew rapidly and wrapped toward Sun Hao. Sun Hao stood in place, his face full of horror. It's terrible, what are these things? Is it a woman's hair? What will happen if I'm entangled? In Sun Hao's heart, 10,000 thoughts were formed. With Rumring here, what's there to be afraid of? I'd like to see what you can do. Sun Hao snorted coldly, his expression serious, his eyes shining, and directly swept toward the black threads in the sky. Immediately, squeak, a shrill scream came from the crack in the sky. All the black threads, like an electric shock, quickly retracted. In the blink of an eye, they all retracted into the crack in the sky. My lord, I'm sorry. After this sound came from the crack, it quickly closed and disappeared without a trace. At this moment, the pressure dissipated, and everyone stood up in turn. They looked at Sun Hao in a daze, and the expressions on their faces changed. Just now, did you hear it? I'm not deaf. How can I not hear it? In the turbulence of the sky, there must be some powerful existence. That's not nonsense. That kind of existence makes us unable to resist at all. Don't say it, my legs are still shaking now, and I can't control them at all. That kind of powerful existence actually apologized to young Master Sun Hao. How strong do you think young Master Sun Hao is? Unimaginable, it's an existence that we look up to. Worship, awe, mystery, all kinds of expressions were written on everyone's faces. On the other side, the green-robed man looked at this scene, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. That kind of shock and disbelief was written all over his face. What kind of existence is he? He can actually make the space turbulence retreat. This is impossible, this is absolutely impossible. How can there be such an existence in this world? The green-robed man kept shaking his head, unwilling to believe everything in front of him. Then, he struggled to stand up and carefully stepped back. However, a gaze swept over. Suddenly, his whole person seemed to be anesthetized, unable to move. The only thing that could move was his mouth. His body flew out uncontrollably and fell straight in front of Sun Hao. Who the hell are you? The green-robed man looked at Sun Hao, his face full of unwillingness. You only have one chance, say, who are you? Why did you do this? Sun Hao looked at the green-robed man, his face full of killing intent. Just now, with so much hair, I was scared half to death. If I don't kill you, it will be difficult to vent my hatred. You want to kill me? Haha, old Manueli, Earth Venerable, I advise you to stop him quickly. Otherwise, Demon Emperor, the words were not finished. Wrong answer. Boom, two sounds sounded at the same time. Sun Hao's fist directly hit the green-robed man's head. His body exploded into a fine powder and disappeared. After killing the green-robed man, his whole mood was much better. "Let's go, big wolf." Sun Hao looked at the blood wolf and shouted. The blood wolf struggled to get up, his whole body still trembling slightly. He looked at the sky, revealing a look of incomparable fear. Then, he looked at Sun Hao again, and the light of worship was written all over his face. Woo! It flew up the road and kept wagging its tail around Sun Hao. "Let's go." Sun Hao looked at the ground, and a sense of dizziness came. He carefully stepped forward and walked toward the ground step by step. Returning to Huang Rumeng, Sun Hao took a long breath. Today it was really scary. "Young master." Huang Rumeng quickly ran forward and threw herself into Sun Hao's arms. Chapter 295. We're still alive? The terrestrial venerable touched his face, feeling that everything was unreal. "It's not easy." That was truly terrifying. Old man Yue nodded slightly. "Master, I didn't hear wrongly, did I?" The terrestrial venerable asked. "What? You heard it too?" Old man Yue was startled. Just now, he thought that he was suffering from auditory hallucinations due to the shock. If his disciple heard it, wouldn't that mean? The more he thought about it, the more shocked old man Yue was. His heart couldn't help but beat violently. "Yes, master." The terrestrial venerable nodded slightly. As soon as these words came out, dong dong, old man Yueli's heart almost jumped out of his throat. It seems that young Master Sun Hao's identity is not simple. Old man Yue looked at Sun Hao, and the light on his face changed. "Master, was that terrifying existence just now really afraid of young Master Sun Hao?" There was still a trace of disbelief on the Earth Venerable's face. "Didn't you notice? Everyone is crawling on the ground, only young Master Sun Hao is completely fine." That terrifying existence also noticed this scene and directly exerted pressure on young Master Sun Hao. In the end, young Master Sun Hao just glanced at it and scared away such a terrifying existence. Old man Yue said. Hearing this, the earthly venerable nodded secretly. Hiss, the two of them sucked in a breath of cold air. For a time, he could not calm down at all. "Master, I didn't expect there to be such a powerful being in this world," the earthly venerable said. "Yes." Elder Yue nodded slightly. "Young Master Sun Hao is not only omnipotent, but his mind is also incomparably broad. Generally speaking, in the eyes of such a person, we are like ants that he can kill at will. However, young Master Sun Hao is kind-hearted. Not only did he not kill us, he even saved us from disaster. Such breadth of mind has never been seen since ancient times." Old man Yue said. "Yes, master." The terrestrial venerable nodded. "After we thank young master, we will immediately return to Phoenix City. I'm afraid the demon Phoenix is in great danger." Old man Yuli said. "Master, the Earth Vein Transportation Formation has been completely destroyed. How do we go back?" the earthly venerable asked. "Run back." Old man Yue said. "Aren't you going to Two City to take the Earth Vein Teleportation Formation?" asked the terrestrial venerable. Old man Yue shook his head. Since the other party came prepared, then the Two City transmission array must have been destroyed. "Let's run back. That's the fastest and safest way. Let's go and thank the young master first." "Yes, master." The two flew down and stood respectfully in front of Sun Hao without disturbing him. Huang Rumeng looked up and quickly broke free from Sun Hao's arms. She blushed and retreated to the side. "Fortunately, they didn't discover my identity," Huang Rumeng muttered. "Thank you for saving my life, young master." Old man Yue brought the Earth Venerable and knelt directly in front of Sun Hao, kneeling 3 times and kowtowing 9 times. "Thank you for saving my life, young master." With the two of them taking the lead, the others also knelt down and kowtowed. "You don't have to be polite. Please get up," Sun Hao shouted. "Many thanks, young master." Everyone stood up. Their faces were filled with gratitude. "Young master, We still have matters to attend to, so we'll take our leave first. Old Manueli stepped forward and said, Take care. Sun Hao nodded. Young master, we will remember your great kindness in our hearts. If there is a chance, we will definitely repay you. After speaking, Old Manueli took the earth venerable and strode away. Soon, he disappeared in the crowd and disappeared. There were more and more people around Sun Hao. Everyone's faces were shining, waiting for Sun Hao to sell the immortal wine. No wonder the young master sold the immortal wine without fear of people robbing. The strength of the young master had already made the terrifying existence bow down. Presumably, the immortal wine sold by the young master must be brewed by himself. Not good. Sun Hao looked at the teleportation array and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He saw that the teleportation array had already broken into pieces. Now it was completely impossible to repair it. To build one again, it would not be done in a short time. Even if it was him, it would take a few days. Moreover, it had to be built in 2 different places. In other words, he had to build one here first, and then go to Phoenix City to build one before it could be opened. It was so troublesome that it was much easier to go directly to Phoenix City. Rumming must be anxious. Let's accompany her to Phoenix City first. Thinking like this, Sun Hao swept his eyes to Huang Rumming. But he saw her eyebrows wrinkled, and there was a trace of worry on her face. It's been so many days, why haven't I replied to the message yet? Did something really happen to the Heavenly Fox clan? Huang Rumming muttered to herself. Rumming, what's wrong? Sun Hao came forward. Young master, I'm afraid something happened to a good friend of mine. Huang Rumming said. Good friend? Then let's go find her? Sun Hao asked. Huang Rumming nodded. Young master, then let's go ask the city lord first. Okay. The 2 disappeared in place instantly with Blood Wolf. What? Young master left. I regret it so much. Why didn't I buy immortal wine? I'm a fucking fool, even making fun of the immortal wine sold by young master. Many people beat their chests and stamped their feet, regretting it. South of North Fall Immortal City. 2 figures were sprinting at high speed. These 2 people were the Old Manueli and the Earth Venerable. Suddenly, the Old Manueli stopped. Master, what's wrong with you? The Earth Venerable asked. I always feel something is wrong. The Old Manueli said. What's wrong? The Earth Venerable asked. The immortal wine sold by a character like young master should not be simple. Let's take it out and see. Okay. The 2 of them each took out a bottle of immortal wine, opened the cap, and couldn't help but shrink their pupils. Their eyes were shining brightly, flickering. Their voices trembled, and they didn't say a complete sentence for a long time. After taking a few breaths of cold air, the 2 calmed down. I'm a fool, I didn't even buy this kind of immortal wine. The Old Manueli's face was full of remorse. Disciple, I'm ashamed. Master, this is not your fault. If we buy it, I'm afraid the young master may not still give us immortal wine. The Earth Venerable said. This is reasonable. The Old Manueli nodded slightly, however, for a character like the young master to give us immortal wine, I'm afraid he has other intentions. Master, I think the young master must have calculated that the monster emperor is in a big crisis. He must want us to increase our strength and quickly go back to support. The Earth Venerable said. It makes sense. Let's drink a few bottles of immortal wine first, cultivate for a while, and then go back. This will definitely be faster. The Old Manueli said. Yes, master. The 2 of them turned into a rush and went quickly. A moment later, they came to a cave and rushed directly inside. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, he picked up a bottle of immortal wine, poured it into his mouth, and swallowed it in one gulp. Infinite immortal power surging through the whole body. The 2 realms, physical body, soul, state of mind, were improving rapidly. Chapter 296. City Lord Residence. Luoxian looked at the sky, unable to calm down for a long time. Everything that happened just now was simply unimaginable and unimaginable. I didn't expect young Master Sun How to be such a mighty figure. I should have thought of this earlier. This immortal wine is sold so cheaply. Who else would be willing to do that? Hu Luoxian murmured to himself, his eyes shining brightly. Suddenly, buzz, the air in front of Hu Luoxian shook and rippled. Two figures walked out of the ripples. It was Sun Hao. Greetings, young master. Seeing Sun Hao, Hu Luoxian's eyes lit up. Without thinking, he knelt in front of Sun Hao and saluted respectfully. City Lord, you're welcome. Sun Hao helped Hu Luoxian up. Many thanks, young master. Hu Luoxian looked at Sun Hao, and the light of worship kept flashing. Young master, you can call me Shaoxian. Young master, not only did you save me, but you also saved the people of our city. We will never forget this great kindness. Hu Luoxian was excited. Sun Hao's face showed a touch of shame. Actually, all of this had nothing to do with him. Everything was done by Ru Meng. Calming down, Sun Hao looked at Hu Luoxian. Shaoxian, you're welcome. I came to you today because I have something to ask you. Young master, please speak. I will definitely answer everything I know. Hu Luoxian said. Are you from the Heavenly Fox clan? Sun Hao said. Hearing this, Hu Luoxian's body trembled and his face was filled with shock. Phew, his two ears directly transformed into fox ears. Yes, young master. Hu Luoxian nodded. Then you should know Hu Luoди, right? Sun Hao asked. Young master, you know little sister? Hu Luoxian's eyes lit up. Well, I guess so. Sun Hao nodded. Why can't I contact Hu Luodi recently? Sigh, Hu Luoxian let out a heavy sigh. Young master, it's a long story. My clan is in great danger now. Little sister sent me here to wait for an immortal named Godly Cunning Immortal. Only the Godly Cunning Immortal can save us. Hu Luoxian lowered his head, looking dispirited. As soon as these words came out, Huang Ruming's body trembled slightly. The name of the Godly Cunning Immortal was left by himself. It would not break the young master's Tao heart, right? Not long ago, he contacted Hu Luoди and said that he would come to Demon Ancestral Mountain in a few days. He didn't expect that she would send someone to wait for him. What had happened to the Heavenly Fox clan? Seeing Huang Ruming's reaction, Sun Hao frowned slightly, revealing a thoughtful look. A bold idea was brewing in his mind. Could it be that Ruming is Godly Cunning Immortal? Absolutely! Miss Xiaolan, Miss Yiling, Miss Luyan. They all know the Godly Cunning Immortal. Other than Ru Meng, who else could be by my side? I should have known. So, it turns out that the person I want to worship is right beside me. Isn't it a little silly for me to search for him so bitterly? The more he thought about it, the more brilliant Sun Hao's eyes became. As long as he collected enough blessing points, he would worship Ru Meng as his master. Wasn't Yang Guo's wife Xiaolongnu? What's wrong with that? No wonder when I first saw Ru Meng, there weren't any energy waves on her body. It turns out that she's cultivating as a mortal. In that case, the dreamlike Tao heart must not be broken. Also, Ru Meng can't directly reveal her identity. In that case, then let me be the Godly Cunning Immortal. Thinking like this, Sun Hao secretly nodded. City Lord, actually, I am the Godly Cunning Immortal. Sun Hao said. Although there was no change in the expression on his face, he was actually ashamed. He actually admitted that he was the Godly Cunning Immortal, so shameful. However, as long as the dreamlike Tao heart was not broken, everything was fine. As soon as these words came out, it was not only Hu Luoxian who was surprised, but even Huang Ruming was stunned in place. Not good, young master knows that he is the Godly Cunning Immortal. Young master's Tao heart is not broken, right? It seems not. Seeing that Sun Hao's breath was normal and his face was calm, Huang Ruming was relieved. Young master, you are the Godly Cunning Immortal? Hu Luoxian's eyes widened, revealing incredible surprise. Why, don't believe me? Sun Hao pretended to be angry. No, no, Hu Luoxian waved his hand repeatedly. Young master, I am too happy. Plop. Hu Luoxian knelt on the ground and kowtowed in salute. Young master, please save our heavenly fox clan. I beg of you. Even if you let me work like a cow or a horse, I will never frown. After speaking, Hu Luoxian kept kowtowing. Get up first. Sun Hao helped Hu Luoxian up and looked back to see Huang Rumeng nodding. I can promise you, but you have to tell me what happened. Young master, actually, I don't know what happened. I only remember that day, after the little sister passed the immortal tribulation, she sent us out, saying that something big happened. She knew that you would come to Demon Ancestor Mountain, so she asked us to wait for you in the 4 major cities. I didn't expect that. I really expected you to come. The heavens have eyes. Hu Luoxian's body trembled with excitement. You don't know what's going on? Sun Hao frowned slightly, a thoughtful look. Yes, young master. Why don't we go to 2 City first? I think we can find out the situation there. Hu Luoxian said. Okay, let's not delay, let's go now. After Sun Hao finished speaking, he waved his right hand, and several people disappeared instantly. When they appeared again, they had already arrived at the southeast side of Beiluo City. After landing, Sun Hao said, Lead the way. Yes, young master. Hu Luoxian looked at the sky, and after confirming that it was safe, he quickly ran forward. Huang Rumeng and Sun Hao followed closely, and then Xue Lang followed closely. Tell me about 2 City and Tushan. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. 2 City is the closest city to Tushan. It is twice the size of Beiluo City. 90% of the people living on both sides are demon cultivators. Hu Luoxian said. So, there are still 10% human cultivators? Sun Hao asked. Not bad. These human cultivators are basically immortal medicine vendors. Hu Luoxian said. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. Then does your heavenly fox clan live in Tushan? Sun Hao asked. Yes, young master, we usually don't come out except to sell herbs. Hu Luoxian said. Then who is the strongest in your heavenly fox clan? Sun Hao asked. Of course, it is the old ancestor Hu Yuehong. Speaking of this, Hu Luoxian's face showed a touch of arrogance. My clan's old ancestor cultivates the insulating claw, which can break all the laws in the world. It can be said that in the same realm, no one is the old ancestor's opponent. Insulating claw? Sun Hao frowned slightly. It sounded so powerful. If there was a chance, he must see it. With such a strong person in charge, presumably, Tushan should be fine. Since your old ancestor is so strong, there should be no danger. Sun Hao said. Young master, there are countless strong people in this world, and there are so many people who are stronger than my old ancestor that they can't be counted. My little Tushan, in the whole universe, what is it? Speaking of this, Hu Luoxian lowered his head with a bitter face. Don't be discouraged, as long as you work hard, I believe that one day you will stand proudly at the peak. Sun Hao patted Hu Luoxian's shoulder and said. And Hu Luoxian nodded heavily, his eyes shining with inextinguishable light. Let's speed up. Okay. Chapter 297. Milky Way Galaxy on a certain planet with life. In the middle of the ocean, in an ancient building shaped like a divine dragon, a golden-robed, red-bearded man with a dragon horn on his head sat on the main seat. This man was the Milky Way Dragon King. In his hand there was a jade bottle. Opening the jade bottle, the Milky Way Dragon King's pupils constricted, his face full of shock. I just took a deep breath, and it's equivalent to half a month of cultivation? I'm a 9th-grade Celestial King. This immortal wine is actually able to allow me to grow so quickly? The Milky Way Dragon King muttered to himself and only calmed down after a long while. He looked up at the red-armored man in front of him. Are you sure this is being sold by a human? Your Majesty, I dare not lie. This thing is indeed sold by a person named Sun Hao. I think this thing is brewed by him. The man in red armor said. Sun Hao? The Milky Way dragon frowned and pondered. He had never heard of this name before. To be able to brew such a peerless immortal brew, the person's strength was definitely not simple. If he went over rashly and was not a match for them, wouldn't he end up dead? In addition, news of this immortal brew would eventually reach the ears of the hegemons. If he blamed her, wouldn't she have to bear the consequences? Just in case, he had to immediately report this matter to the hegemon. Even if the sovereign didn't act personally, he would most likely send a few immortal paragons. In this way I will be absolutely safe. After careful consideration, the Galactic Dragon King made a decision. Well done. I didn't expect Grasshopper to be so sensible. Go back and tell him that he can return at the end of this year. The Milky Way Dragon King said. Thank you, Your Majesty. The red-armored man knelt down and kowtowed 9 times before quickly retreating. The Milky Way Dragon King put away the jade bottle and disappeared in a flash. On the other side, the red-armored man walked out of the palace happily. Just as he arrived at the plaza, he saw a group of armored guards surrounding him. What do you want to do? The red-armored man panicked. Come with us, His Highness the Crown Prince wants to see you. I still have to go back and report, the red-armored man said. Cut the crap. Let's go. There was no other way. The red-armored man was escorted by a group of armored guards to the Crown Prince's palace. After entering, the red-armored man knelt down. Greetings, Your Highness. You may rise. A blue-haired man sat on the main seat, staring coldly at the red-armored man. This person was the eldest son of the Milky Way Dragon King, Han Shi. Thank you, Your Highness. The red-armored man stood there weakly, his body trembling. Tell me, what did my third brother give my father? They actually transferred him back? Also, my royal father actually went to see the hegemon. Cold Savage's voice wasn't loud, but it was filled with power. Your Highness, I am here to deliver the immortal wine. The red-armored man said. How dare you? The guards on his left and right shouted, scaring the red-armored man so much that he knelt on the ground and shivered. Do you really think this prince is easy to fool? Confess. Han Shi said. Your Highness, I really wouldn't dare lie to you. It's like this. The red-armored man explained what had happened. Han Xian paid attention to all of this seriously, his expression unchanged. When the red-armored man finished speaking, his face revealed a trace of anger. Men, take him away and behead him. Yes. The guards on the left and right rushed forward and quickly took the red-armored man away. No, Your Highness, please spare my life. The voice faded away. Soon after, the sound of a dragon's head falling to the ground was heard. Your Highness, he doesn't seem to be lying. At this time, a goatee came forward. You're right. Han Shi smiled and nodded. Then why did you behead him? If you don't behead him, wouldn't the credit be all third brothers? Hearing Han Shi's voice, the goatee nodded and gave a thumbs up. Your Highness, you're really smart. Han Shi smiled slightly. Get ready and immediately bring people with me to Xiang's star. Your Highness, do you want to go and kidnap Sun Hao? The goatee asked. Yes. Han Shi nodded. To be able to brew this kind of immortal wine, I'm afraid his strength is not simple, should we? The goatee asked. Of course, bring him along. Han Shi nodded. Yes, Your Highness. The goatee quickly retreated. Deep in the universe, on a certain life planet, in an ancient hall, a woman holding a scepter sat on the main seat. The emperor-level aura exuded from her body. In the hall, everyone lowered their heads, not daring to look at her. A few days ago, I sensed a familiar sound. It must be the appearance of my clan's divine artifact, the Tai Chi Divine Tower. We have to find the divine artifact before the other immortal emperors find out. Who is willing to take on this heavy responsibility? The woman's gaze swept, and everyone lowered their heads. No one was willing to stand up. No one? The woman's voice gradually became cold. Great Emperor, I am willing. At this time, a woman's voice sounded outside the door. Immediately afterward, a woman in white came in leisurely. She had a beautiful melon seed face, delicate facial features appeared very three-dimensional, and jade-like skin exuded a tender luster. At first glance, it was like a masterpiece of God, without a trace of fault. Are you willing? Do you know the consequences? The Empress frowned slightly, showing a trace of displeasure on her face. Great Emperor, I know. If I can't get the divine artifact back, I will die. The woman said. The Empress sighed secretly. Since you know the consequences, then go. I can only sense that the Tai Chi Divine Tower is located in the Milky Way galaxy. This is the Tai Chi compass. It can sense the Tai Chi Divine Tower. When you get there, use this thing and it will guide you. Remember, it can only be used 3 times. After that, the Empress waved her right hand, and an exquisite compass flew back to the woman's hand. Yes, Great Emperor. The woman took the compass and quickly retreated. Ziyang Star, south of the heavenly demon continent. Buzz, the sky shook with layers of ripples, and hundreds of figures walked out of the ripples. These people were the Demon Slayer Special Attack Team led by Luo Luyen. These 500 people were all immortals. Luo Luyen and the others had even reached the heavenly immortal realm. Even the Penglai continent could not compete with this power. After landing, Luo Luyen looked at the blood mist in the sky and frowned slightly. This time, we are determined to uproot the demon race. We are waiting here. Each person can only have 10 bottles of immortal wine to replenish. So, we must finish this quickly. Remember, kill without mercy. Luo Luyen shouted loudly. Yes, Alliance Leader Luo. Everyone clasped their fists and saluted. Alliance Leader Chen. Yes. Chen Daoming stood up. You, Elder Mu, and Elder Su, take 150 people and attack from the east. Yes. Chen Daoming clasped his fists and retreated. Elder Hua. Luo Luyen shouted. Yes. The Flower Fairy stood up. You, Elder Xianyuan and Elder Zhongli, take 150 people and attack from the west. Yes. The others, attack from the middle with me, and go straight to the demon's nest. Let's go. The order was given. Swish, everyone turned into a stream of light and flew quickly toward the heavenly demon continent. Chapter 298. North of Demon Ancestral Mountain, 2 City. On the streets, the tide of people surged, constantly intertwining. Pass by, don't miss the immortal medicine just picked. This immortal pill only costs 10 immortal crystals. If you miss this one, there will be no next one. Great Immortal, don't hesitate. High-grade immortal pill, from the hands of Master Qin, there is only one in the world. The sound of shouting and hawking was endless. The whole scene seemed extremely lively. Most people's faces were brimming with joy. Suddenly, a black cloud pressed down, enveloping the entire city. Everyone was still in a daze. Buzz, a whistling sound came down. A wisp of green light flew down from the black cloud, and in an instant, it shattered the city protection array. Buzz, the green light landed and exploded instantly. Countless wisps of green lightning swept the entire 2 city. At this moment, time froze, everyone's movements and expressions seemed to be fixed. Green electric arcs swam around their bodies, taking away everyone's vitality at a speed visible to the naked eye. Less than a moment, each of them turned into a withered statue and stood there motionless. Buzz, the green lightning swam rapidly and quickly gathered in the center of the city. Whoosh, turned into a stream of light, quickly submerged into the black cloud, and disappeared. Jie jie, a gloomy laughter sounded from the black cloud. Not bad, not bad. It's really delicious. However, it's far from enough. When I finish swallowing 2 mountain, I think I can recover 10% of my strength. The roar sounded from the black cloud, reverberating between heaven and earth. The black cloud flew toward Two Mountain as fast as lightning. Two Mountain, in a large hall. A woman in red with two fox ears rushed in from outside the door. In front of her chest, trembling up and down, surging. This person was the princess of the demon ancestral mountain heavenly fox clan, Huluadi. Compared to before, Huluadi's body emitted a kind of immortal luster. The whole person looked extremely charming. Maybe she was not as good-looking as Huang Ruming, but her every movement was naturally tempting, making people unconsciously want to immerse in that kind of gentleness. Mother, open the mystifying heavenly formation for a while. I want to send a message. Presumably the godly cunning immortal has come. Huluadi said. In front of her stood another fox-eared woman. This person was the clan leader of the Sky Fox clan, Hulaina. We can't. A great danger will descend at any moment. Opening the grand formation rashly will only cause our clan to fall into eternal damnation. Besides, no matter how strong the godly cunning immortal is, can he solve the crisis of our clan? Now, we can only hope that the old ancestor returns as soon as possible. Hulaina said. Mother, the old ancestor is going to the Demon Burial Mountain Range. That place is a forbidden zone for immortal kings. Even immortal kings can only enter but not leave. I'm afraid the old ancestor is also. Shut up! Hulaina shouted. The old ancestor cultivates the claw of insulation, which can break all spells in the world. The Demon Burial Mountain Range is nothing. As long as the ancestor returns, the danger to our clan will be resolved. Just as he finished speaking, boom! A loud noise swept across the entire Two Mountain. This sound caused everyone's ears to ring and their heads to spin. Not good. Hulaina ran out of the house and looked up. Her pupils constricted. Huluadi followed closely behind. As he looked at the sky, his body trembled and his expression changed greatly. Mother, what is that? They saw. Black clouds covered the sky, making it impenetrable. It enveloped the entire Two Mountain within a radius of 10,000 miles. A 10,000-meter-long green bone claw stretched out from the black clouds, aimed at the mystifying sky formation, and pressed down. Boom! With a loud noise, the entire great formation was shaking violently, as if it was about to explode. Hulaina's expression changed drastically, and she secretly said that it was not good. She called upon the immortal power in her body, and let out a roar. Everyone, return to the main clan immediately. Hurry! His voice shook the heavens. It woke up all the clansmen who were stunned in place. Everyone immediately turned into a stream of light and flew toward Hulaina. Buzz! Hulaina reacted extremely quickly. With a wave of her right hand, an ancient castle rapidly enlarged in her hand. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a huge castle with a height of 100 meters. Nether ruins. Seeing this castle, Huluadi's eyes lit up. Don't just stand there, hurry up and follow me into the Nether ruins. Everyone, fly into the Nether ruins. Hulaina used a secret method to transmit her voice into everyone's ears at the same time. However, the size of Two Mountain is 10,000 miles. Not every Heavenly Fox clan member can grasp the void and enter the Nether ruins. On a certain mountain top, a gray-haired old man crouched in the dense forest, looked up at the sky, and couldn't help but feel his scalp tingle. Damn it! This person was Ujizi. He had been in Two Mountain for more than half a month. These days, he was careful and did not let the Heavenly Fox clan discover him. Originally, he wanted to get some nine-tailed foxtail fur. However, these days, the Heavenly Fox clan's defense was too tight, and it was difficult to make a move. Lying in the same place, it has been almost 5 days. However, he did find out a piece of good news. That was, the Heavenly Fox clan was in a great crisis, and he just took this opportunity to get some treasures and then leave the Demon Ancestral Mountain. However, what he did not expect was that this great danger turned out to be. Thinking of this, Ujizi looked up at the sky again, extremely frightened. Only to see. The giant claw that covered the sky emitted a faint green light, aimed at the great array, and blasted down. Boom! A deafening sound shook heaven and earth. A wave of air whistled down from the sky and swept in all directions. Those Heavenly Fox clan members who had rushed up to the nether ruins were blown back. Buzz, the shield on Ujizi's body trembled violently, and his ears were ringing. Now, with the great array to resist, it could produce this kind of power. If the great array disappeared, that claw would fall, and he would die. What should I do? Ujizi's face showed a look of hesitation. At the moment when he was stunned. Kacha! The maze sky array, a crack spread rapidly. With another blow, the great array would definitely collapse. At that time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Damn it, I don't care. Ujizi took out a talisman, moved his mind, and instantly lit it. In front of him, a whirlpool appeared. Without thinking, he jumped into the whirlpool and disappeared. When he appeared again, he was not far from the nether ruins. He lay on the ground, motionless, quietly waiting for an opportunity. Boom! A loud noise. The green claw directly tore the great array apart. Good opportunity! Without any hesitation, Ujizi followed the Heavenly Fox clan, turned into a stream of light, and flew into the nether void. No one noticed him. Quick, hurry up! Hulaina roared loudly. Jie, in the black cloud there was a cold laugh. Then, buzz, two green lights like two torrents poured down. Like a gaze sweeping across everyone. At this moment, all the clansmen, as if trapped in a quagmire, were extremely difficult to move. Their bodies fell straight down uncontrollably. After landing, they struggled. Looking in the direction of Hulaina, they shouted, "Patriarch, don't worry about us, run, run!" Chapter 299. Hurry up! Don't give up! Hulaina roared loudly, tears brewing in her eyes. Beside her, the tears in Huluadi's eyes had long since covered them. Damn it! What the hell is this thing? Huluoti clenched his fists tightly, and his face was filled with unwillingness. Hee, a burst of cold laughter came from the sky. All of you are my food! No one can escape. After he finished speaking, the green claw in the sky rapidly grew larger. In the blink of an eye, it covered the entire mountain. Buzz, the claw gave off a shocking pressure as it pressed down. The people of the Heavenly Fox clan crawled on the ground and kept struggling. Kacha, every time he struggled, the bones in his hands would crack. Patriarch, run quickly! Patriarch, don't worry about us. It'll be too late if we're late. Patriarch, you must preserve our clan's bloodline. Run! Such voices resounded in the surroundings. Hulaina gritted her teeth and struggled. She raised her head to look at the sky, anger and unwillingness intertwined on her face. Her tears flowed quickly as she rushed into the nether ruins. Buzz, within the nether ruins, a ring of 5-colored light enveloped the entire nether ruins. The entire mountain. At this moment, time seemed to stand still. Phew! The life force of all the Heavenly Fox clansmen rapidly flew up and poured into the sky-covering claw. Hee, a laugh rang out from the black cloud. So delicious! Not bad, not bad. Your souls must be quite delicious. Let my weak soul replenish a little. After this sound, the sky-covering claws pressed down in an instant. Phew! All the dried corpses of the sky foxes flew up and floated in the sky. Boom! The ground of mountain cracked as shockwaves swept out in all directions. The nether ruins trembled violently in the turbulence and swayed non-stop. Hurry up! In the nether ruins, everyone was praying. Hulaina revealed an incomparably solemn expression as she frantically channeled her power into the nether ruins. Under her control, the light of the nether ruins grew brighter and brighter. Swish! A piercing sound could be heard. Nether ruins pierced through the void, turned into a ray of light, and disappeared. Hee, a cold laugh came from the black cloud. You can't escape. After this sound, the sky-covering claw continued to press down. The entire mountain exploded into pieces. Enveloped by the green lightning, the dust rapidly compressed. In the end, they turned into black spikes that were more than 10 meters long. Every spike was covered with densely packed formation patterns. Bang! These sharp thorns stabbed into the ground of mountain. From afar, it looked like a huge iron plate covered with spikes. Tens of millions of heavenly fox corpses fell from the sky. One by one, they hung on those sharp thorns. Sizzle, on the ground, green electric arcs were exploding and flowing in all directions. Lines of formation patterns were carved on the surface of Tushan. Go! There was a loud noise. A huge transparent crystal ball flew down from the sky and landed in the eye of the array formation like a meteorite. Instantly, few wisps of light that his physical body could not detect flowed down from the sharp thorns. It rapidly flowed into the crystal ball through the runes. In a month's time, your souls will flow into it. At that time, this seat will come to collect it. Ants, where did you escape to? This seat is coming. After this sound, the sky-covering claw grabbed toward the sky. Kacha! The sky seemed to be torn apart, revealing a deep hole. Phew! The dark cloud drilled into the hole and disappeared. In a certain secret realm. Buzz! The sky shook up layers of ripples, and the nether ruins drilled out of the ripples and slowly landed. In the nether ruins, everyone's face was full of grief, indignation, and unwillingness. Mother, they are all dead, and their souls were not let go. Speaking of this, Huluadi burst into tears. Now is not the time to cry, the crisis is not over yet. Hulaina's voice awakened Huluadi. Through the nether ruins, looking at the surrounding scenery, his face was full of doubts. Mother, where is this? Huluadi wiped his tears and asked. This is the Kang boundary, a secret realm left by the founding ancestor of my clan. Hulaina said. Kang boundary? Huluadi pointed at the ape-like creatures outside. Mother, what is that? Hulaina looked up and couldn't help but feel her scalp tingle. That is a chimera, its physical body is extremely powerful and incomparably brutal. Every chimera has the strength of the immortal realm. If we are discovered by them, I'm afraid the defensive barrier of the nether ruins will be torn apart by them. Even you and I'm afraid. Speaking of this, Hulaina couldn't continue. Mother, what should we do? Huluadi asked. We can only pray. Hulaina shook her head slightly. Why would there be such monsters in the secret realm left by the founding ancestor? Huluadi asked. Sigh, the founding ancestor could not completely destroy them, and could only trap them here. Hulaina secretly sighed. Suddenly, Hulaina raised her eyebrows, glanced at a certain position, and said, Come out, don't hide. With this sound, an old man walked out from the crowd and smiled. Fellow greetings? This old man was Ujizi. Hulaina looked at Ujizi and frowned slightly. Why do you look a little familiar? What is your purpose in coming to my Tushan? This poor Taoist travels the world, helping the strong kill the weak, Helping the weak is this poor Taoist's duty. Seeing that your Tushan is in danger, I'm here to save it. Ujizi said with a smile. With just you? Huluadi released his aura, causing Ujizi to retreat a few steps, his face full of panic. Who are you? Hulaina's voice revealed a bit of majesty. This poor Taoist is Ujizi. As soon as these words came out, a wave of pressure like a torrent surged over. In an instant it enveloped Ujizi. So it's you. I've been looking for you for so many years. I didn't expect that you would actually deliver yourself to my door. Hulaina's face was full of anger. Step by step, she walked towards Ujizi. Patriarch, why are you looking for me? As soon as these words came out, a slap fiercely landed on Ujizi's face. He slammed heavily on the stone wall, vomiting blood. His entire face immediately swelled up and turned purple. Why am I looking for you? Of course, to beat you to death. After saying that, Hulaina slapped him again. Patriarch, Grandaunt, don't hit me. I was wrong. If you want to hit me, you should at least let me know the reason, right? Ujizi waved his hand repeatedly, his face full of fear. 10,000 years ago, I retracted my tail hair. Do you dare to say that you didn't steal it? After saying that, Hulaina punched down again and again. Soon after, Ujizi fell to the ground, his breath was weak. You can go to hell. After saying that, Hulaina raised a shocking fist, aimed at Ujizi and punched down. Wait. Seeing this scene, Ujizi quickly waved his hand. After that, he took out a horsetail whisk and respectfully handed it forward. Chapter 300. Looking at the horsetail whisk in Ujizi's hand, Hulaina's face was filled with anger. She was so angry that her entire body was trembling. You! How dare you use my tail hair to make a horsetail whisk? If I don't kill you today, the hatred in my heart won't be appeased. Hulaina said hatefully. Ancestor, don't. I thought you didn't want your tail hair anymore, so I picked it up. For the past 10,000 years, I've treated it like a treasure. Look, not a single hair has been lost. It's all neatly returned to its rightful owner. For the sake of my ignorance, please spare my life. After saying that, Ujizi kowtowed to Hulaina. Don't try to argue. Today you must die. Hulaina walked towards Ujizi and was about to kill him. Howl! A roar came from outside the nether ruins. Hulaina looked up and her scalp went numb. They saw. A chimera was beating its chest and roaring at the sky. His expression indicated that he was calling out to his companions. Mom, not good, they found us. Quickly open the nether ruins and escape. Huluadi said. The energy of the nether ruins has been used up. I can't escape. Then what should we do? For now, someone has to be sacrificed. Hulaina's gaze swept over Uji as she spoke. Ujizi had goosebumps all over his body. Panic was written all over his face. He took 2 steps back, his face full of fear. Patriarch, what do you want to do? What for? Hulaina revealed a cruel smile. Of course I'm going to F***CKU. After she finished speaking, Hulaina waved her right hand. A ray of red light flew out from her palm and landed on Ujizi. Are you all right? Ujizi did not feel any pain at all. He could not help but let out a long sigh of relief. The next second, he found his body flying backwards uncontrollably. Drawing a parabola, he fell heavily into the group of 8. This. Ujizi shuddered at the sight of the 2-meter-tall chimpanzees that were as strong as bulls. Howl, the leader ape, let out an excited roar and kept pounding its chest. His expression was as if he had seen a peerlessly beautiful ape, and he was extremely excited. A few chimeras walked forward and grabbed Ujizi's limbs. What do you want? Let go. No, a blood-curdling scream rang out. Ujizi's clothes were completely torn apart. Immediately after, miserable screams shook the heavens. All sorts of complicated emotions were contained within. Huluadi was dumbfounded when he saw this scene, and he couldn't react for a long time. Mother, they. Huluoti pointed at this scene, his face red. Don't look. With a wave of his right hand, Zhang Xian sealed off the nether ruins, preventing him from seeing the outside world. All that could be heard were incomparably miserable screams. Mother, is this Ujizi doomed? Huluadi asked. He deserves it. He stole my tail fur, so I didn't kill him on the spot. That's good for him. Hulaina held the horsetail whisk and sized it up. Not long after, the screams gradually stopped. Howl, the group of chimpanzees sped away. One of the chimpanzees was carrying Ujizi. When the ape disappeared, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Mother, it should be safe now, right? Huluadi asked. There are no chimpanzees nearby. We tried to walk out. Hulaina looked at the surrounding scenery through the nether ruins. After confirming that there were no chimpanzees, she let out a long sigh of relief. Suddenly, Katja, the sky cracked like a mirror and a hole appeared. Then, spider web-like cracks spread rapidly around. Boom, an explosion sounded. A green claw pierced through. Seeing this scene, everyone in the nether ruins had a huge change in expression, and their whole body trembled. A fatal crisis shrouded their hearts. Huff, as the claw pierced through, endless black clouds pressed down, shrouding the world in an instant. The entire Kang world fell into darkness. The only light was the green lightning that exploded from time to time in the black clouds. Two huge green eyes pierced through the black clouds and swept directly toward the nether ruins. Jia Jia, a burst of laughter sounded. Ants, do you think it's possible to escape in front of me? It's your greatest honor to become my food. After saying that, the green claw that covered the sky stretched down from the black clouds and grabbed at the nether ruins. Demon Ancestor Mountain, north of Two Mountain, a huge city stood there. This city was called Two City. The former prosperity passed away in one day. What was left on the ground were the shriveled corpses. The expression on their faces was fixed at that moment, without any pain. Outside the city, Sun Hao and the other two stood at the north city gate, looking at the scene in front of them. They couldn't help but clench their fists, and their joints exploded. They saw. On the way into the city there were statues standing. These statues were all transformed from human cultivators or demon cultivators. Everyone's expression was different. Huff, a breeze blew. The top of the statue turned into wisps of debris and flew away with the wind. It was as if it had been exposed to the wind and sun for thousands of years, decaying. Along the way, within 100 miles, they encountered many such statues. The vitality of these people was all taken away by some kind of monster. Endless haze enveloped the heads of the three. His mood was exceptionally heavy. Damn it, Sun Hao secretly cursed. Massacring the city at every turn. Hundreds of millions of lives in front of that kind of powerhouse were like ants, killing them if they wanted to. When he had the strength, he must reverse the situation. Sun Hao secretly clenched his fists. Come on, let's go in and see. Sun Hao patted Hu Luoxian on the shoulder and said. Hu Luoxian's face was full of worry. He followed closely behind Sun Hao, his eyes sweeping around. Walking to the city gate, his right hand touched the city gate. Boom, with an explosion, the entire city gate directly exploded into flying catkins and dissipated with the wind. It was not a city wall, a large piece could be dug out with a light touch. Walking into the city, the smell of decay hit the face. The statues on the street were endless. Everyone's expression was frozen. What the hell is going on here? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I just came here 10 days ago. At that time, it was not like this at all. In Hu Luoxian's eyes, tears were brewing. There must be a powerhouse who extracted his vitality. This kind of powerhouse should not live in this world. Sun Hao clenched his fists, secretly hating. If one day he met such a powerful person, he would take a breath, and then he would not become such a statue. This world must have order. Suddenly, Hu Luoxian turned into haste and dashed forward. After a while, Hu Luoxian stood in front of a statue, stretched out his hands, wanting to touch it but not daring to touch it. This. He looked at the statue with an excited expression. 2 lines of tears flowed down. Old Shui. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly, and his face was full of grief. I shouldn't have let you come back. It's all my fault. Old Shui, I'm sorry. P.S. The protagonist of the Demon Ancestral Mountain plot will collect full blessing points. Please come to QQ to read support. Chapter 301. Old CI. He is my best friend. If I don't avenge this hatred, I will not live under the same sky. No matter who you are, I will pull your tendons and peel your skin. Hu Luoxian looked up to the sky and roared in grief. Boom! Sun Hao patted Hu Luoxian's shoulder lightly. At this moment, the hostility on Hu Luoxian's body disappeared. He woke up, looked at Sun Hao, opened his mouth, and couldn't laugh. Young master! If you want to take revenge, you must have strength. With your strength, can you be an opponent? Sun Hao said. Young master, I understand, I will work hard to cultivate. Hu Luoxian nodded heavily. Little Xian, let's go, take us to the teleportation array to see. Sun Hao said. Okay. The three continued to walk forward. Along the way, all they encountered were decaying corpses. Some of them had fallen to the ground and scattered for a week. All of this, like the haze gathering on their heads, was getting thicker and thicker. Uneasiness was written all over the faces of the three. To be able to turn such a large city into a wasteland in just a few days, it was impossible. The strength of the behind-the-scenes manipulator was by no means simple. Soon, the three came to the Earth Vein Teleportation Array. However, although the Earth Vein Teleportation Array was still intact, the power on it had been extracted clean. Boom, a light touch. The foundation stone of the teleportation array was shattered to the ground, and the pattern on it had long been erased. Little Xian, let's hurry to Two Mountain to see. Sun Hao said. N. The three took a step and ran quickly. Soon after, the three stood in front of Two Mountain. Two Mountain, stacked layer by layer, rows of mountains, continuous into a piece. People standing in front of it were as small as ants. All around, rocks were piled up. Looking at these rocks, Hu Luoxian raised his eyebrows and thought it was not good. He took 3 steps, ran to the rocks, picked them up and looked, and his pupils shrank. This is the cornerstone of the Confusion Sky Formation. What Confusion Sky Formation? Sun Hao stepped forward, picked up a cornerstone and looked at it, and couldn't help but shake his head repeatedly. The pattern on the statue on the cornerstone was too simple and too stiff. It was not as smooth as his own carving. Compared with his own formation level, it was far worse. Young Master, the Confusion Sky Formation used 180 million immortal-grade formation foundation stones. After 10,000 years, it was built by thousands of formation masters of the Heavenly Fox tribe. The strongest one can withstand the full power of a third-grade celestial king. At this point, Hu Luoxian's face revealed a hint of heartache. Who would have thought that the disorienting sky formation would be completely shattered? The person who came is definitely not simple. Young Master, I beg you to save my people. Hu Luoxian knelt in front of Sun Hao and kept kowtowing. Get up and take us up the mountain. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Hu Luoxian quickly stood up and ran forward. Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng followed closely behind and kept up. Sun Hao's face showed a trace of worry. Can Ru Meng deal with such a terrifying almighty? Definitely. She is the godly cunning immortal. Thinking like this, Sun Hao glanced at Huang Rumeng. After seeing her calm expression, he secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Ru Meng is so calm, there must be no problem. Sun Hao thought secretly. Entering Two Mountain, there was a cold wind blowing in the face. The wind blew into the body through the cuffs, straight into the bone marrow, making the body shiver. A bloody smell poured into the nasal cavity. Not good. Hu Luoxian's face showed uneasiness, turned into a stream of light, and ran quickly toward the top of the mountain. Ru Meng, let's keep up. Okay. The two did not slow down at all and quickly followed up. A moment later, the three of them came to the top of the mountain and looked at the scene in front of them, stunned in place. They saw that the entire top of the mountain had become an endless flat land. It looked as if the entire top of the mountain had been cut off by someone, and it was extremely flat. The original verdant jungle had long disappeared. Instead, there were spikes more than 10 meters high. On each spike, there was a heavenly fox that was pierced through, hanging on it. The dry fur, swaying in the wind, whining. The sound was like a ghost howling, very scary. The spikes and the ground were engraved with ancient formation patterns. Wisps of light that could only be scanned by divine sense floated out of the heavenly fox. Along the spikes, it drifted down, flowed quickly on the formation patterns on the ground, and went straight into the crystal ball in the distant depth. Hu Luoxian looked at this scene, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. His whole body kept trembling. Two balls of anger, galloping in his chest, seemed to burn his body. No, an unwilling roar resounded through the world. After this sound, as if touching some taboo switch, buzz, one by one, the withered heavenly fox suddenly opened their eyes. Swish, two green rays of light burst out from their eyes. That kind of cold, killing intent swept out from the heavenly fox. Woo! They struggled quickly, breaking free from the spikes. After jumping to the ground, they rushed toward Hu Luoxian like a torrent. Hu Luoxian looked at this scene, his face full of grief. My people, it's me. Wake up. However, no matter how Hu Luoxian called, these heavenly foxes were unmoved. They stepped on the ground, shaking the ground and making it buzz. Like 10,000 beasts galloping, the momentum soared to the sky. When Sun Hao saw this scene, he couldn't help but tremble. On his forehead, cold sweat flowed. It's terrible. Are these all ghosts? So sharp. What should I do? Young master, are you not feeling well again? Are you chanting scriptures or playing the guqin? Huang Ruming asked. Of course, it's chanting scriptures. Help me take out the Ksitigarbha Sutra. Sun Hao suppressed the trembling of his body and sat cross-legged on the ground. Let me enlighten you. After Ruming took out the scriptures, Sun Hao opened his mouth and read. On the other side, the heavenly fox, like a torrent, kicked the ground with its hind legs and jumped up. They aimed at Hu Luoxian and grabbed down. Kacha space was torn and distorted. Seeing that, these heavenly foxes were about to catch Hu Luoxian. At this time, merciful cause accumulates good, vows to save all living beings. The golden tin in the hand shakes open the gate of hell. The pearl in the palm shines on the boundless world. Lines of scriptures flew all over the sky. With Sun Hao as the center, it spread around rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped these heavenly foxes, who, the green light in their eyes like a candle flame blown by the wind, instantly extinguished. Their bodies, as if struck by lightning, fell to the ground in a daze. As the scriptures spread, white phantoms floated out of the heavenly foxes, floating in the air, motionless. That expression was like a devout believer listening to the great Buddha voice. When the scriptures entered the ears, it was particularly comfortable. The impatience and anger in the heart dissipated completely at this moment. Hu Luoxian sat cross-legged on the ground and listened quietly. Boom, in the distance, the crystal bead that collected souls directly burst open. Countless souls danced in the air. They turned into wisps of white light, rushing to the souls of every heavenly fox. In the sound of wisdom, in the auspicious clouds, for Jambudvipa suffering all living beings, the Lord of great merit, the scriptures did not stop sweeping the world. Most of the scriptures flew into the void and disappeared. At this moment, in front of Sun Hao, everyone sat cross-legged on the ground, listening quietly.